Karibuni. Karibuni sana. Yes, naona comment za watu which is true. Personally pia mimi I feel frustrated. Yeah. Gachagua lazima atafute maadvisor sasa. Hiyo speech hapana. Anyway, but ni sawa, what do we say? Hiyo script hapana. Anyway, ingieni. Wacha ni share link alafu leo nataka ku handle the heart of election rigging. So kama kuna mtu akona information kidogo about that, unaweza ingia kwa show. So show yetu itakuwa very educational. So kama una information about vile mauchaguzi zinaibiangwa, leo unaweza turuhusu kidogo. Ama uruhusu wale watu ambao wanaweza analyze hiyo situation. Nataka tuangalie West Africa, tuangalie Europe, vile mainchi zinapanganga hiyo maneno. Kama kuna mtu anajua something more about the color revolution in Eastern Europe, that's why mi sitaki kufocus na vitu ya Gachagua for now. So I would rather first of all focus with what can shape us in terms of unilaterally changing our thinking and focusing. Anyway, nimeona kwa comment section in his war amesema wataenda kwa koti. We will wait. He said there that kuna uwezekano watu wa mbele wakae for long without a member of parliament. Yeah, which is okay. So we are not worried about that. So whether watu wa mbele watakuwa na mbunge ama watakuwa naye, hiyo haituhusu, but tunafaa kutumia hii episode kujisaidia. So yes. Sawa. Nimetuma link. Yule anataka kuingia anaweza ingia. So leo nataka kukua very specific. Let me see where I begin with. Karibuni. Kuna kitu tunaitanga coup at the ballot. Kuna video nitawekea hapa, msikilize. And then alafu tuendelee. Nitaanza hapa.
I ordered 200 hand-forged knives to my dorm room and built a Wix website to sell them.
Go ahead.
Decade average.
Go.
2021 was the year of coups. In total, 6 countries experienced at least one attempt, 5 of which were successful. That's as many as the previous 6 years, from 2015 to 20, put together, and over 3 times the 2-decade average. The last time the world saw this many in a single calendar year, in fact, was after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. The UN Secretary General went so far as to call it an epidemic. Clearly, coups are not a thing of the past. But what's remarkable is how little they've changed. In 1968, political scientist Edward Luttwak released Coup d'etat, a practical handbook, essentially a step-by-step cookbook for would-be dictators. Today, over 50 years later, the same basic recipe is used to seize control of countries like Mali, Guinea, Sudan, and Myanmar. These dictators even look the same as they did in the 60s. So how do coups work? Why do these steps seem to transcend time and place? And what does that tell us about how to prevent them? Sponsored by Storyblocks, where you can find over 1 million high-quality stock videos for all your creative projects. To answer our questions, we're going to have to temporarily inhabit the mind of an aspiring Machiavellian autocrat. Our very first step is to select a target. As Americans learned on January 6th, no country is immune from coups, and it always pays to stay vigilant against them. Still, there are some characteristics that make a coup more or less likely to succeed. We see that in their geographic distribution. Coups are not as common as this chart from earlier might suggest. Rather, a few countries seem to be trapped in a perpetual cycle. Of the countries which have seen at least one attempt since 1950, the average number during that period was 5, or once every 14 years. They've been a regular feature of Thai politics, for instance, since 1912. And this is just a list of the successful ones. If you include failed attempts, there have been at least 30. The Sahel region of Africa, likewise, has been referred to as a coup belt. Since 1950, Sudan has experienced 16, and both Sierra Leone and Ghana, 10. Many of these countries are poor, yes, but not all poor countries are represented here. So what do these in particular have in common? For starters, they tend to have a high concentration of power. As we'll see, coups rarely command a numerical advantage. They're surgical operations, not overwhelming displays of firepower. Our ideal country has a definite political center, a single capital city home to all the administrative and bureaucratic headquarters, aka a single point of failure. The greater the separation of powers, the more branches of government will have to infiltrate. The same is true of redundancy in general. Syria's Assad, for example, maintained not 2, 3, or even 4, but 5 separate intelligence services. One might defect, but it's very unlikely that all 4 will. Besides, someone has to spy on the spies. Next, the ideal target has low political participation. Where revolutions are built on passion, coups, on the other hand, thrive on apathy.
If you can't quit the P word, I want to let you know that scripture tells us that successful men are often the ones that deal with this, from David to Solomon to Samson. For the last 4 years after opening the door to Unchained Leader, we've seen a very similar pattern of what's described in here, of guys coming in that are from every major sports league that you can imagine, the MLB, the NBA. These aren't just guys that sit on the bench. These are guys that are on the cover of magazines. We have guys that are as high up in the military as you can possibly get. We have CEOs that you would know the names of, and also famous pastors that have come in that if I told you the name, you would know who they are. And we're actually going to walk you through scripture of like where it actually outlines all of this stuff. And so maybe this is something that you've been asking for an answer for quite some time. And I want you to consider that
Sorry, I don't know what is the problem, lakini nitaangalia tu kidogo. Anyway, nitaendelea na hii video yangu. There is a problem with my button here, but I will look at it to see how I can work on it. Yeah, of course, ni advert imeleta shida. I don't know what is the issue. Sorry, John Dida. I'm trying to. It's like I'm invested by a virus. I'm trying to remove this, but my virus zilishanga. Haitoki kabisa. Anyway, so nimesikia watu leo wakiongea story ya what happened to najaribu kuguza kitu then I'm not able to. Anyway, I'll just remove this video because I have no alternative, because there is a place I need to click, but hiyo nini haiwezi toka. So Joe Dinda and the rest. So that is what happened. So I want us to go more professional ikifika. I want us to go more professional ikifika, like how should we fight for our country, because we cannot just like tuwezi tu sorry, don't seem to get it. So we cannot agree to what Kasongo did. Yeah, but at the same time, I don't feel Rigathi Gachagua speech blessing us. I think he had an opportunity to unify the country today, but he has refused. I don't know why. Leo ilikuwa siku muhimu sana. Yes, I understand that. I know there is so much problems in the Kikuyu community or Mount Kenya community. They are target to William Ruto. That one we know. Watu wa Mlima, they are target to William Ruto. But I don't think by only solidifying watu wa Mlima peke yao, it will make them not get targeted by William Ruto. In any case, Gachagua should not be pretending he doesn't know where William Ruto came from and who he was. Yeye anamjua. So I don't understand why all the time we are coming here to preach about character of William. So, and that is one of the talk line which personally I disagree with Gachagua, because Gachagua is too much on telling us who William Ruto is as if we don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that dialogue. And today I choose to tell Gachagua who William Ruto is. So let me. I want to tell Gachagua in a professional way. I want to show Gachagua who William Ruto is, so ili aache kutuadvertisea huyo mnyama. I don't like it. Na nataka pia watu wa Mlima, we have now to become clever. We stop now behaving like I'm sorry, we stop behaving like idiots. Watu wa Mlima tusipo apply ujuzi na maarifa, tutamalizwa tukiona. Tena waoneshe.
Mimi nauliza nyinyi, kama mko na shida na Wakikuyu, hamuko na shida na Wakikuyu kuliko sisi wa Kalenjin? Mimi nauliza nyinyi, kama mko na shida na Wakikuyu, hamuko na shida na Wakikuyu kuliko sisi wa Kalenjin? Mimi nauliza nyinyi, kama mko na shida na Wakikuyu, hamuko na shida na Wakikuyu kuliko sisi wa Kalenjin? Mimi nauliza nyinyi, kama mko na shida.
I needed to tell Gachagua that because unajua Gachagua, that is the man who you worked for or you worked with. So this idea whereby you only want to give us the rhetoric about Ruto, and that is a man, it doesn't bless us. We should just be swift in strategy and bringing the country together now. There's no way in which Kikuyus can be able to defend themselves alone. If there is one man and he has power and he is targeting one community, you don't galvanize that one community only to fight against that person. You take your case to the country, and the country is able to defend each other. We can defend each other. So stop galvanizing. The Kikuyu community has no capacity to defend itself against somebody who has decided to finish them. But this war can easily be won if we work in tandem with other communities. Because I don't think even other communities will be feeling good when Kikuyus are being targeted or when their businesses are being destroyed and other things are being destroyed. Because remember, we also share some interest together. So I think Bwana Gachagua rhetoric needs to be refined. Yeah, Bwana Gachagua rhetoric needs to be refined. Yes, Kikuyus are being targeted. Today I was expecting, I wish he talked about Mbeere issues, but it seems like to him Mbeere issues were not important. And he continued over amplifying about sijui huyu mtu vile. There was a good case to explain in Mbeere how people are being beaten and vitu zingine, and he put it and Mbeere and Malava. I don't know, but there is a juxtaposition. It's not only Kikuyus who are being targeted. There was Marava, people are being beaten too. Mbeere, people are being beaten too. So there must be an holistic approach of response and fighting. So anyway, but the more, and I will speak this one very candidly, the more Kikuyus want to show they can fight alone, the more we will lose this war. This war is supposed to be a Kenyan war. Otherwise, we will now split the country, and even some of the people who are even in opposition, they will even start siding with the Kasongo. So there are some nuts. We know that Kikuyus are disproportionately affected more, but it can't be about Murima. It can't be just be about Murima. There's no in which other people will come and join you in the war if you are extremely about Murima. So hata mtu atakuja aseme hiyo ni vita ya watu wa Murima. Watu wa Murima ni kama wanajisaidia. So we need to and I think hivyo ndivyo hata Kasongo yeye mwenyewe anataka. So Kasongo anataka hii vita ikuwe regionalized instead of being a national war, because Kasongo knows a national war atoboi. So anatusukuma kabisa, alafu sasa Wakisii wanaongea yao, Wakikuyu wanaongea yao, like how the Tower of Babel collapsed. So I'm not very happy about that. So Bwana Gachagua, don't tell us about this man. We already know that he is very evil. So mimi hakuna kitu naweza niambia kuhusu huyu beshte. Hata wale ambao wanamsifu, they are free to do it, but we play this because history is history. Kuna watu wanasemanga history doesn't matter, but history is history.
Shida na Wakikuyu, hamuko na shida na Wakikuyu kuliko sisi wa Kalenjin. Tuko na shida kubwa zaidi, sawa sawa. Lakini ikifika mahali unatofautisha maneno, unaweka maneno ya tofauti za kijamii kando, unatafuta serikali kwanza, kwa sababu ile serikali itakusaidia kutatua matatizo ulio nayo. Lakini kama wewe unakwama mahali moja, unasema huyu si
Bwana Gachagua, this was a long game, so I don't know. This was a long game, so that is the man you worked with. So stop crying and strategize. So maneno ya kushindanga, kuna vitu raia elewi. Hata ukikuja kulia raia elewi hizo vitu. Raia anataka solution. So what you told us is that utadefend kura zetu. Those are the things which you should be telling us. Kura yetu ilipotelea wapi? Kura yetu ilipotelea wapi? But this idea whereby already Kikuyus are a target and they cannot fight alone this war. So we need to bring a national approach in this war. No, let me tell you, there is something I also don't like Uhuru Kenyatta. So when it comes to Uhuru Kenyatta, you and I, because Uhuru, we have to be very careful about Uhuru. So me issue Uhuru, I don't want to talk too much about it now, and I know why. There is a problem of this Jubilee Party, and the Jubilee Party might do the same thing which Moses Kuria Party did in Mbeere. So there are things we don't want to talk too much about Jubilee here. Jubilee might be that party. I'm talking of Mount Kenya region, and I don't know why some of these parties they are not willing to fold in Mount Kenya region, even if we are saying we want to practice democracy there, because in some places kutatokezea candidate wa Jubilee, candidate wa DCP na candidate wa UDA. Then Jubilee and DCP will be saying that they are in the same fold, and then Ruto atumie hiyo mathematics to cheat us that he is having a competitive election. So if Jubilee is the most popular party in Mount Kenya, then we exterminate DCP. That is the only thing which can work now. So otherwise, history and Mbeere, it will be, you can see already Ruto has used Moses Kuria very effectively. And over 2,400 votes went to Moses Kuria, and who is also pretending that he is in the opposition. So it is simple. Now you keep to Atufichi. The most strong political party in Mount Kenya region has to be given power to run now. Hizo zingine zifunge duka. Yeah, hizo chama zingine zote zifunge duka. So otherwise, we are working in futility, because now those are some of the things where now that division, that is where now sasa tutapata infiltration. So hao wengine wote wafunge duka sasa. So no, Janet, I don't want to talk about that. So mimi ndio nasema hivi. Na hii ni kitu tutaanzia kusema, and we are now even now saying Mlima Kenya chama itakuwa moja, and we have to sit down, na lazima tuketi chini na tuongee story ya chama moja. Lakini history ati ya tunasema ati kukuwe na chama 10. Now we have we are up for a road shock because zingine sasa Ruto atakuja wapee pesa, and you don't need to collect a lot of votes, by the way. You need, 1,000 votes are enough to make a difference. Na unakuta huko hata hatuna. It is the same thing which even happened in 2007. Vyama mingi andi tunakuta mpaka hata Kibaki ana wabunge. No, kama hata kubali, we will not work with the 10 parties. Hiyo nayo hakuna. So me, I'm not talking about it. So lazima tuketi chini tuseme which party can easily mobilize people. So tukisema hii chama ndio inaweza mobilize watu, alafu hizo zingine zote zifu, or maybe waketi chini, they come up with one party. But hidden history ya kusema ati lazima hii chama ikue. Why can't Uhuru and Gachagua unite and they form a new party? Why? Si basi wako kama huyu hawezi acha DCP na huyu mwingine hawezi acha Jubilee. Sasa tuseme wacha tuachane na hizi maujinga sasa. Let's unite under one political party. Mbona kila mtu anajisikia na yake? Hapa iko issue hapa. Hapa iko issue. Hapa iko issue. So me, I have no problem, but why is it so difficult hawa watu kukua na chama moja? If the reason, the political interest is the same, why are we having different kama reason is the same, why can't we not agree? Haya basi kila mtu afunge yake, tufungue so wacha tuseme Mlima Kenya hakuna chama. Yes, wacha tuseme Mlima Kenya hakuna chama, lakini hii ujinga ati ya kusema democracy, tuachane tu na 2027 mapema. As long as Mlima Kenya, Jubilee iko, DCP iko, sijui na Kenya, sijui what, all those PLP, tuachane. My channel is called Kenyan Democracy. It's not World Democracy. So Madam Anne, wachane na mambo mingi. So tuache stress mingi. So anyway, wajipange, lakini those political parties have to die. No, nani Belfast video yangu imekataa kucheza, so there's nothing else I could have done. So it's like, and I don't want to restart my computer na hizi video huwezi cheza na simu. So and I know people are being like wanasumbuliwa na advert na hiyo button where you need to click to remove the nini, kitu ingine ime sprout up, and so forget about that video. We can do without video because I don't want to irritate people with adverts. So let me see if I can block them. So Belfast already, huyo jamaa alielezea how coups happen in Africa. So how do you advertise? I don't seem to be able to remove that advert. No. I need to work on this computer of mine. So Wacha hiyo advert iishe, nirudishe hiyo video. I'm waiting for the advert iishe. I just saw that the people are getting irritated by the advert, and I don't seem to have a place where I can. Oh, okay. Hmm. Anyway, hiyo advert inaisha, so let's wait. Anyway, mnaweza ambia kuingia show. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm waiting for that advert. Sawa, Belfast, changia kidogo. We need to work on something here. Tunaongea about modern day rigging. Do you think mtu anaweza elewa uchaguzi inaibiwa aje kwa dunia siku hizi? Let me restart my computer. I'll be back. Is that okay? Umeenda. Let me remove. Let me see what Jim is saying. When you have Gachagua, we need to protect our business. The man never runs. Who needs an enemy from outside? When you have Gachagua, we need to protect our business. The man never runs. Gachagua should work with ODM. Njiru, it is funny, Matiang'i. I don't know, but I don't know what we need to say. So anyway, let's talk of other things like hii mambo ya kina Gachagua na Matiang'i to me is becoming complex every day because these people don't seem to have a working plan. So we will not support Kasongo, but we will wait for those people who are a bit more organized, and we will choose to work with them. So, but I don't see people who are organized, and yes, we are opposition, but being organized is important. So ni sawa. So Belfast amekuja na akaenda. Wacha nimalize video yangu. I needed to restart the computer, but I cannot restart it now because the show is already running. Anyway, ni sawa. That's why sitaki hata kucheza hiyo video ya Kariobangi saa hii because I want us to be more strategic in some of the explanation. Yeah, it was bad for that tear gassing, but we need a more professional approach on our issues now. Yeah, lazima we have to be more professional and strategic. Lakini Gachagua na Uhuru, they have to look for means of working. I think hii story ya Mbeere, if we have not learned with it, tuache story mingi. Yes, I know we are going to court, but there are things to learn kwa hii story ya Mbeere, like divide and rule tactic. Mnakuwa chama mingi, Ruto ana infiltrate moja. Ama unajua, let me tell you what happens. Mkikuwa chama mingi, Ruto anaweza kuwa hata hapendi hiyo chama, lakini anaenda tu, anakuwa tu na proxy wake, anamwambia enda uingie Jubilee, nitakupea pesa huko upate kura huko. Na pia so mkiwa na chama mingi, let me tell you what happens. The dangers of having many political party ni hii. Ruto anafinance msee wa UDA na anafinance msee mwingine to fight the other guy. Hata mkikuwa na political party 4, Ruto can finance the 3 political parties to finish this one, because you see even one way of winning, na ndio nataka kuelezea hapa, one way of winning is not to focus on your enemy alone. You can also win through collaborators who pretend to be your enemies. Story ndio hiyo sasa. So as long as Mlima tuko na like 3-4 political parties, tuachane na hii story bwana. Tuende tukalime sukuma na tuache hiyo jeni tena, sitawadanganya. As long as mko na 4 political parties, muachane na siasa kabisa, muende tu mlime ile tu sukuma. Mnasemanga nyinyi hamtaki kusikia biashara zikiharibiwa, amtaka. Now that one I will agree. Hiyo nitakubali kabisa, because what will happen, tunakuwa na chama 4 Mlima Kenya. Si Ruto akona kodi yetu, si akona tax yetu, ana identify tu chama 3 tu na anafanya kazi nazo. It doesn't even need to, hata hitaji Uhuru anaweza kuwa, by the way, acha niwape scenario. Hata Uhuru anaweza kuwa afanye kazi na Ruto. I want to give you a typical case. Jubilee na DCP. Kama DCP wako na candidate strong, it doesn't mean that Ruto has infiltrated Jubilee even without Uhuru knowledge. You don't need Uhuru to infiltrate Jubilee. You only need a candidate wa Jubilee in Manyata constituency, ama candidate wa Jubilee ama chama yoyote in a certain place. Na huyo jamaa unaenda unaongea naye direct, unamwambia mkubwa, wewe mzee wewe kanyangia hapo, tutakupea pesa vizuri, wewe kanyangia hapo, wewe shikilia hapo. Jamaa tu anakaa hapo. So una make sure like kuna wase watatu who are pretending to be in your government, who are pretending to be opposing you, na wanaongea vibaya sana kukuhusu, lakini hao majamaa wewe ndio unawapea pesa, because wanafanya they are doing your work in the other way. So kama in shorts, ili nipe Eli nafasi aongee. Kama Mlima Kenya, we are talking about 3 or 4 political parties. Bwana, tuachane na siasa bwana. Tuende tufuge ng'ombe zetu, tuende tufanye tu zile biashara tunasemanga tunafanyanga, tuende tuanzie kufanya ile mahoking yetu. Yeah, tuende tu tufanye hizo vitu tu na tuachane na kila kitu. Sasa and we should not na alafu sasa hakuna story ya kushughulika nani anaongozanga hapa, nani anaongozanga hapa. It's that simple. If these guys cannot unite under one umbrella, not a coalition. Coalitions do not work. Chama. Hiyo hatutoboi. Aya, Belfast, go ahead.
Jill, good morning. According to the time in the UK and Ireland, it's just about 1:10 in the morning.
How are you?
So
Unajua nini? December imefika huko nasikia. You are in the month of December. December.
Kabisa. This is the first actually of
So
December. Thanks for reminding me.
Mnakula sikukuu hii mwezi?
Mimi sifanyi hizo masherehe za Christmas, lakini
unataka kuniambia uwekei watoto Christmas tree bwana Belfast? Lazima uwekee watoto Christmas tree bwana. Hapo usianzie kufanya tu watoto wako kuna vitu hawapati sababu because of your indoctrination. We know you have highly been indoctrinated, lakini lazima watoto washerekee, wanunulie Christmas tree kubwa sana hapo, waweke hapo na waiwashe mataa, waiweke mataa. So Belfast, wacha mchezo bana, I don't celebrate those. Sasa unaambukiza, unaambiwa watoto hii vitu wachana nayo. Wachana na watoto wakuwe na Christmas tree hapo bwana.
Hao watoto wako na werevu nyingine hata kali sana, hata hao wanajua.
Wewe kama unajikazia usikazie watoto.
Hapana,
mtoto atajikazia inezera.
Imagine people who tell their kids that there is a person who will come through the chimney
there is a person who
and bring them the chimney. Sijui Santa Claus. Sijui will drop them things from the sky. Hizo ni maneno ya wazungu.
Mimi sijasema uanunulie Santa, nimesema tu at least. Mimi sijasema story ya Santa. Anyway, you can choose what to do.
Wacha tuendelee na hii kwanza. Hapo hivyo mimi naona the time when your kids grow up and they are mature enough to decide which way they are going with the religious beliefs and things like that, then let them be. But as a parent, to control the mindset of a child by telling them at SG wherever you must support Man United or Liverpool because that is my team, I'm your father or I'm your mother, and you be a Christian or a Muslim, me, I will not peg my kids into that situation. I think kids should be learning how to be independent, and they will decide for themselves. And so in our house, that is what we have agreed. At watoto watajitayarisha wenyewe saa zile watataka kuwa tuseme Muislamu ama Mkristo. Hiyo ni mapendekezo yao, but we don't prevent them from celebrating these events when their school have those Christmas shows or Eid, whatever. We allow them to integrate with the other kids, but we don't indoctrinate them into thinking that the person called Jesus Christ, supposedly born on 25th of December, until now they must march along and agree with all these situations. But we know that these are celebrations of the people of Western countries that crept into Africa and so on. And these kids, they know about these things. So we will let them, would do what they can, but we cannot force them to believe Christianity or Islam or Hinduism or anything that involves a dogma. Njiru, you're bright enough to know these things. But anyway, I hear you very sad. You're very sad today because of the so-called elections that have taken place in Kenya recently. And I'm not going to preach to the converted, because I think we all know the model of electoral practice in our country, and we know that that is not going to change sufficiently anytime soon, because the constitution has been very corrupted, because, I mean, even take, for example, the so-called ministers who should not be involved in politics, the CSs in Kenya. In the last, I would say, 7 to 8 years since the 2010 constitution, that bit about the civility and neutral stature of CSs, that has been thrown out the window. And most of these CSs are now just political thugs. Sometimes even politicians perform better than these CSs that we see. So can you imagine that you have a public governance and public bodies that are supposed to steer away from politics within the executive, and then you expect that these people who have decided to be part of the corruption, you expect them to follow what the constitution says, and that they will always strongly support, the constitutional order that includes electoral practice. You expect them to do that. It's not going to happen. Now, the second point is that people were expecting the young generation, or you call them Gen Z, to be involved, to really get into the politics of these by-elections. It never happened. I watched a lady from somewhere in Central Province. I can't tell exactly where, but she seemed to enjoy the so-called victory of Ruto's side, because she was very angry that there were not many young people who even have electoral cards, or who even bothered to go and vote. And this is a thing that even Nyanza would have suffered in the past, where people were just attending rallies, and then when it comes to the crunch time of the elections, they were not taking part, either because they want nothing to do with politicians, they're fed up of them, so there's like political apathy, and maybe there are other reasons which could be personal, but they certainly don't have time for politicians, these young people, you see. So we can't really force them, but they know that if they decided to march to polling stations in big numbers, those ones who are eligible to vote, then the people that the people don't like will be in severe threat, even they will not make it in office, they will not win these posts, these electoral, these constituencies and wards. They know that. But something is lacking, which is preventing the youth from mobilizing. I don't know, maybe after the 2024 and 2025 massacre of young people, and a lot of young people left Kenya, the ones who were involved in the front line, many of them disappeared, but a lot of them left Kenya because they're being followed everywhere they're wanted. So it's sort of scared people, I think, that this to the point where they're afraid of involving themselves in electoral democracy, which is supposed to be one of the key items in our democracy, but which is not followed according to the letter. So these young people, there could be many reasons why they're afraid of taking part, or they just have apathy. And also, while I'm saying this, a lot of people are blaming the young people, and maybe it's not the only reason that rigging is easy, or people like William Ruto feel that they have swum through to victory. That's what they think. This electoral malpractice that we see is not new. We will sit here and talk about it, but we're not trying to find a certain way to change this. I think that the greatest thing that can be done is by mobilizing people to take that voters card, and especially young people in big numbers, decide who are the candidates, the youth candidates that's going to be marching forward there to win the elections. But for people like myself who don't trust our form of elections, I think it's a waste of time. If we are supposed to be the so-called educated people, think that it's a waste of time, can you imagine what the people who I hate to use the word expert, but who are not expert in analyzing this, and they live in our villages, what do you think they think? If kama mimi na wewe tunasema hii kitu ni ujinga, so I think that wao ambao wako kule inawaumiza sana sana. Yani ni ule ujinga ambayo hata sijui vile wanaweza kueleza. So the power of the vote that people keep talking about, that is the power of the vote, is something I have never understood in Kenya, because it's not there. You have this power which you can't see, you can't use it, because you go to the, with your ballot papers. Some people are stuffing ballot papers all over so many African countries, not just Kenya. Some people are banning these ballot papers. Our voting material is not even printed in Kenya. What a shame. I mean, you are going to do something called an election, but we are importing.
Okay. Neutral, let me ask you a question. When it comes to materials, do other countries do the same? Is that what happens in many of African countries? They do them from abroad?
Ngoja. Good question. I will just give you that question back to yourself. Umeshawahi kusikia ati UK wanaenda kutafuta makaratasi za voting sijui America, sijui China? What I know, even Gambia, during the time of that Yahya Jammeh, the man who was in power in Gambia, the military officer who was overthrown. I know that even in their last election, after he was overthrown, they were using this ni kama hizi mawe za ajwa. Hii game inaitwanga mbao. Hii ya Waswahili. They were not using voting cards or sijui ballot papers. And they still managed to do a good election in Gambia after Yahya Jammeh was overthrown. You see? But in Kenya, a perfect example of you know, playing with the people's minds and making it sound very intellectual, very constitution based, when you've got like exam papers being printed abroad. These are the problems that we have, because it's not rocket science. Why should we have an aeroplane full of voting papers coming from some European country? And you know the tenders, even James Oswago, that former army major from Kindu Bay, who was the top IEBC officer, you know, besides the chairperson, you know, during Kivuitu's time. I think the man was called James Oswago, and he was the CEO, yes, of IEBC before Isaka Hassan and all those guys. These guys were so corrupt. You know, Oswago just, his case, sijui kwanza what happened, wakamhurumia na hizo kelele zote hapo hivyo ati they were investigating. So the electoral malpractice in Kenya is official. It is something where it is so official, yani, and you wonder why someone who wants to be president or even an MP, a ward representative, would spend so much money to try and get that seat. It's because of the fact that that office that you are aspiring to lead is going to make you engineer some more money, and that's just the way corruption will continue. It's just a game of musical chairs. I wish I could say something positive about the model of elections that we have, but I can't. So then I'll come to your question, which is how you started this program tonight. You spoke about the coups in Africa, or just the coups in in the world, and you wanted to ask questions so we can debate about this. But I don't know what informed you about this, whether you think that that is the next step forward, but obviously it can't be, because if we can, you know, we have civilian coups in Kenya and in many African countries all of the time through breaching the constitution. You know, rigging is part of this formal exercise. You know, we literally go against the constitution. So we do a civilian coup. One of the perfect ones was the Kibaki II of 2007, where civilians had voted, but it is believed that Kibaki did not win. So basically it was a coup. And in fact, Kibaki was, it has been written, it's recorded in very many research materials that Kibaki was handling.
Good. Neutral, hapo sawa. So that is also something I wanted us to handle. Practical coups and coups at the ballot, because you know they happen in different ways. You can do a coup using military, and you can do a coup through the ballot. And those are some of the things I think we will separate. And maybe now that I can hear you, umeanzia kuzielezea, can you try to separate the two? Because like especially like Western countries, you know very well, Western countries, they do coups, but most of their coups happen in the ballot. They will not do military thing, because you know they want to purport this democracy thing, but you'll see things which you cannot imagine. Maybe a sway of an election in a certain direction, and maybe it was a way of taking over the government, because they still want to continue preaching these issues of democracy globally. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. There's that high offense which people were facing. You know, they would be hanged, or there would be something like a death sentence. What is that? When you commit a coup. We had a very high offense that a criminal offense that carried a very big punishment, some form of treachery. I don't know what was the exact word of it, but that was one of the things that made African coups nearly impossible, because people were afraid that if it went wrong, and if a coup goes wrong, the repercussions are quite fatal. And so you find that the people, the officers who are dining together, they must know very well the junior officers. The junior officers must connect with the senior officers. Now, in military parlance, that's what I'm saying. But we know that in Kenya, ni saa ngapi senior officers, I am talking about the star generals and so on, majors and even brigadiers, what time do they have for the junior officers, especially in a country that has not experienced successful coups? So you find that this mobilization is impossible. It will never happen. Yani, if you had an officer who could marshal support, even amongst just the 4 leading ethnic groups within the military, and I'm talking about back in the day, the Kikuyu, Kamba, Luo, and the Kalenjin. Now I don't know what is the distribution of representation of tribes in the Kenyan military, but back in the 80s and even up to 90s, maybe this was still important, until there was a time it was mainly just the people from Rift Valley, and to some extent Central, not so much even. Then, of course, people now think that maybe the military is nearly well balanced, but not at the officer level. So in Kenya, this dream of changing the country, even without bloodshed, but militarily, is near impossible. Another reason for that is because our key ally is the former colonial power, Britain, which this country has immense amount of interests in Kenya, that if something happens just a little bit, they are interested to see how they can twist it here and there. You see how the Americans and the British diplomatic agents behave when every time Raila Odinga and the leadership of ODM and other opposition figures went to court, to protest the rigging of elections. The next thing, they were either invited to visit the offices of these diplomats, or the diplomats themselves went to Upper Hill to negotiate with Raila Odinga. It shows you that the powers of the West, and now even China, are always part of this ring of whether we have a democratic exchange or transition or not, because they're very much interested. When Ochuka, for example, in 1982, as a junior ranking officer, he was just a private, was sent to do a coup against Daniel Arap Moi. It was known that bigger officers were involved, and in fact the Air Force commander, who was later jailed. These guys, the British, at that point, they were accused of possibly being part of the coup because of the relationship between the British military and the Kenyan military, which has been there for quite some time. And Moi actually was afraid that this would have been part of the possibilities that Moi, the British were involved in the coup, but they could not prove it. It was not proven at all. In fact, Margaret Thatcher, who was then the Prime Minister, reacted very quickly to reassure Moi after that coup, which lasted until, I think, the next day at 11 a.m. And of course, those military officers, they were looking to arrest Moi and detain him and deal with him whichever way they wanted to, but he was not in town. So all these things that were happening at that time did not conform with the way the coup leaders were thinking. That's why you hear this phrase, they were not well prepared at that time. But this was a time when coups in Africa were now starting to gain a lot of, not a lot of support, but they were starting to make sense according to the politics of those countries, whichever countries that were facing these coups. These coups cannot be compared with the coups that are happening in Africa today. Because most of the coups that are happening in Africa today, they're more corporate involved, more influence from abroad than the influence from abroad that we had back then, which was primarily because you were colonized by this country and this country wants to continue with you by bringing a military officer who will back you up. Because some failed contracts have shown, and the current president, a civilian president, is not doing as you want if you were the former colonial power. These coups today, they're not even knee-jerk coups, but they are different the way I see them, right? Someone says that these coups are happening today because of the end of the Cold War. That could be a plausible reason, because during that time, you could say this coup has been supported by the Russians, or you could say this has been supported by a Western country. But today, that Cold War is a blurred thing because it's not really there. And China is a superpower with its own interests as well. Too many words to describe what is happening and to describe the sort of thing that you wanted us to, to breathe in and out about the coups in Africa. But it's important that we talk about this because the military, they're also part of the body makeup of Kenya. We have to appreciate the military, not that we fear them, but our young people, the generation that we have been hoping for since 2024, they have been stopped from marching towards closer to power and changing the system. And part of the reason why they have been stopped is because the military used force to stop them. Kenyans, we are afraid of these people who have guns. This is a truth because if you give an example, every time that these national violent situations have happened, it is mostly because the police and other armed forces have used firepower. It is not because the Kalenjins are throwing more arrows at communities there in Sondu, the border parts of Kalenjin communities and others, between them and the Kisii, the sides of Bomet, or also having run-ins with Kikuyus who live in the diaspora of Rift Valley. Those things are just happening mostly because the state forces are committing fatal offenses, against their own people. These things have made Kenyans afraid of seeking change, because I believe that there was one time that Kenyans could have changed the country, and that was last year, 2024. That thing that made people turn against Raila Odinga. Unfortunately, they did turn against Raila Odinga as if he was the only person who was supposed to mobilize people. I believe that Gachagua, my last point, has a lot of things to tell Kenyans. I don't care that Gachagua was a DO and he may have done bad things, and all these things he has been accused of, CG, to do with his brother, his late brother, CG, amenyakua, CG, property ya huyu, families are complaining. If we start chambuaring Gachagua yeye mwenyewe, then we need to do the same about all the other politicians. Me, what I support about Rigathi Gachagua is that the information he has and he utters to the people is so important that if we don't take him seriously, because right now I believe he doesn't care kama wanataka kumshoot. I believe he wants to share as much information as he could. So, last point about Mr. Gachagua is one of the reasons why he was removed from the office of deputy president with his mate William Ruto. He was removed. They accused him of being a tribalist, and they only did some cherry picking because it's him, Gachagua. But this man, one of the things they accused him of, in public rallies, is speaking in Kikuyu. Why are people obsessed with the part that he speaks in Kikuyu? What is wrong with that? That's his language. That's his language. People cannot say, now if you're a Kikuyu or if you are a Mdigo, you cannot take a public platform and speak in your language. That's not fair. They expect him to speak in English. Well, he's addressing his own people. It's not a reasonable thing, because we have seen these other leaders doing the same. So the thing I say, a prize we have, a big prize, is that Mr. Gachagua has released so much information, and I'm sure he continues to do so to even the media, things that we don't know, even those that are shared online. And there is a way they're trying to stop him from doing that. And they will if they want, because they realize that he has more and more and more he wants to say. But he just needs a bit of management of his, of his press releases or off-the-cuff statements, because sometimes if he releases too much information, then the people will think that this information is not correct. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bwana Stone PK, karibu. Today we are handling coups at the ballot. Do you think in Kenya coups have ever happened in the ballot? And if so, at what incidences? And how can we fight them? Welcome.
Thank you, Bwana Njiru, and also let me pass my regards to Neutral, my brother there. I came in when Neutral was at his tail end in his submission, but I could pick a few things, and I could tell, what he was actually justifying. Njiru, you always make a mistake of not writing the topic that we are discussing, so that when we come in, we are able to. But it's okay. I have picked it. Yeah, coups. So you are talking of coups at the ballot, not coups in the barracks. Is it barracks?
No. I'm not talking of the military one, because the military ones we extremely fear them, and we don't want to hear them. But I want you to explain to me the coups in the ballot, because those are the ones which they happen a lot, but we again assume we are not seeing them.
You know why I'm laughing, but Jiro and Neutral will get this. Unajua kama umezaliwa mtaani. Unajua Jiro wewe ulizaliwa pale nyumbani. Unajua Ushago kuna piece moja deadly. I wish I was born in Ushago, but I would not have managed in life properly. Ungekuwa umezaliwa Eastland, my bro. Nitakuita bro hiyo, lakini hiyo ni genuine. Eastland. Ama if you are in Nairobi, kila watu wana Eastland. Hata Mombasa kuna Eastland. Sitaki kutumia the word ghetto. Ghetto is very demeaning. Hiyo ni when they were really killing our people in terms of slaves and all that, and they settled them in very...
In America, nasikianga wanazitanga the woods. In the woods.
Yeah, it's nonsense hiyo yao. Unajua, hii yetu in Africa, actually, the areas we call Eastlands, they were the up market. That's where the middle class. Huko kulikuwa kwa middle class, because that's where you had akina Tomboya, actually, Oginga, Railas, and all these guys, all the freedom fighters, those people who made Kenya what it is, that's where they cooked maneno. And if you go to the history of Eastland, that's where also you had the greatest boxers. Mabondia, they still come from Eastland. What does that tell you? It tells you that is where life is shaped. Inashapiwa in all spheres. You become resilient. You have streetwise. You have diplomatic. That is where PLO comes from. So Eastland is where also you have Kizungu. That's where Isheng was built. That is where now we also build such that ukiongea maneno ya coup, even if it's a military coup, unaiongea bila kuogopa. Because what happens is, even if a coup happened in Kenya, it is not the coup, it's not that lions will now take over ruling human beings. Unajua as lions zikaanza ndio zimekuja, now you don't know how to deal with them. But even if there was a coup in Kenya, which you fear to talk about, it is still our uncles, our daughters. Now these days, not even uncles mostly. It is our sons, our brothers, our sisters, unless it is done by a foreign country. Then hapo tutaogopa. Sababu sasa Uganda ndio wamechukua, Tanzania ndio wamechukua. Hapo you may not know how to relate with them because these are not us. But sasa unaenda unakuta ni kijana wa Stone PK. Unakuta ni why, for me, today if I heard there was a coup in Kenya, I would sleep soundly. Because I know one of the things that will not happen is that there is no akutakua mass killing like we have with what we are calling democratic government. Because I don't think mjeshi atatoka hivi aende Githurai aanze kupiga tu watu ati amefungulia hiyo Kalgosta hivi aiming at raia hawana bunduki. Sijawahi kusikia hiyo. Maybe Neutral utaniambia wewe pia umefanya kazi nje. I've been in the conflict wherever. The only time I saw people opening fire to their fellow citizens is where now you really, it's not about coup. It is people fighting against each other, like I've seen that when I was in Kivu, DRC. You have those who they are calling that. In Liberia, I saw that, and in Sierra Leone, I saw that. But again, those are slightly different from what we would say, like exactly now what has happened in Guinea-Bissau, and what happened in this place called Burkina Faso, and several others. So when we talk of military coups, they are different, category, tofauti. All right. When you have military versus military, then that becomes real bloody. Okay. But when you come military doing it to save civilians, then that's a bit different. So what we should be now praying and worrying about that. If it ever happens in our space, then we pray that it will be out of reason. And let's not say that at its as a military don't reason. No, they reason. Okay, so tusiogope kusema ikafanyika ni sawa. Is it possible? We don't know. Yeah. Now let me come back to the safe haven that Njiru wants us to deal with. Ballot. The coup at the ballot. The coup at the ballot has continually happened in Kenya throughout since 1960, when we first had our first election. And we have acknowledged that the only time that a semblance of civilian election and decision, in quote, democratically accepted is only once. Okay, 2002. That everyone accepts. Oh, this is the only time they feel it happened. And of course, tuliona matunda. You know, you can always see something that has happened and it is well. You will see it is automatic. It goes from celebration, and then it goes from the faces of the people, how they behave. Somebody who feels nice, you can see even in his walking style. Somebody who has amepiga kura ikaenda vizuri. Hata kama ameshindwa, lakini alishindwa vizuri. Go back to how when we were having inter-school competition soccer. If the referee was fair na mlipewa penalty mkashindwa, hata hakukuwa shida. Watu walikuwa wanasema tu mzee, acha tungoje next season utatuona bana. Hiyo pena ni Stone tu ndio alishindwa kuokoa mzee, lakini hamna noma. But if the referee was unfair, ndio tulikuwa tunatumia hizi marungu na fracas inatokea. All right? And remember, from Eastland, we would stop before it goes worse. Tulikuwa tunasema afadhali game iishe ndio ifanywe replay. So in Eastland, we are taught to stop it before it is. We are never taught to accept and move on. Yeah. Now, since the coups on the ballot has continually happened, and we have been cultured to accept and move on, it is a bit hard to reverse that. And that is why we have the resultant of the 24th June 2024, that activity which Nani has alluded to, Neutral has alluded to. That, people have refused to really, study that. And, yesterday I was telling you, since you were saw me, somebody should really go back and do that paper. I wish I have time. Ningefanya hata mimi nipewe doctorate. Unaona? Ningeenda people watu wanaitwa nini? Undermine that activity. Oh, ni watoto, they didn't know what they were doing. These are people who ran over parliament. They dissolved the parliament. Actually, that parliament stands dissolved. Logically and practically. Kenyan parliament today, hiyo sasa tuko nayo iliisha tarehe 24. Only that unajua wa Kenya now they are like this. So the reason why that action happened is because we have accepted the ballot coup as a norm. In fact, I would say now the so-called legacy politicians should entrench that into this constitution, because this constitution has stopped and ceased completely from being a Mwananchi constitution. It was our constitution with all our aspiration as Mwananchi, but hakuna, because remember we said the first one, pale chapter hapo inaitwaje, preamble, we the people, okay, that the power, the total power belongs to we the people. And when it comes to delegation, it is stated that we may. When you say we may, it is at our discretion. It is at our discretion. But now, our discretion has been subdued completely, and the coup happened immediately. All that has been taken away from us. So we are ready. The people who are supposed to be the power are now underdogs. And when you've been put under the table instead of being on top of the table, as you discussed, then you are cooked. We are done. So you will always be told, remember the constitution. Now you are being told, remember the constitution. Now umefungiwa kwa box. You cannot, you have no ability, you have no authority, because whatever you say it is never taken, it doesn't make sense. So we were overthrown, and we've been overthrown, we've never regained. The Gen Z tried now to bring it now back, the power back to the people. We were subdued again. And of course, when you want to defeat an army or a people, you use one of their own. You look at one of their own. You even sometimes capture one of the generals who is so prominent, and umemaliza hiyo army. We were captured through Raila Amolo Odinga. That is a fact that people don't want to talk about. And unfortunately, it has been confirmed mara moja, si mara mbili, na si mara tatu. The total sum, the sum total imekuja kukua what we call broad-based. And now that is the gospel being preached. That now you, the people who continue to fight, you will be fighting on your own. Sisi tumeenda pande ile ingine. So it's up to you. So we, the people, we will have to think so hard to gain back that capacity, so that we are able to resist these coups that have already taken place, not once, not twice, not thrice. The latest rubber stamp kuonyesha mwananchi you have no say is the by-elections that have just gone. I mean, like yesterday, I had to get out because yesterday there was a lot of nonsense that was being discussed. That elections went well and all that, until I could not, stand anymore. I could not comprehend, because, when we talk of things that we are seeing, unaenda unakuta maji ni machafu, hayanyweki. And because you want to pretend that inanyweka, unasema wewe unachukua na chupa, badala ukunywe tuone, unaweka kwa gari unaenda. Alafu ndio useme ulikuwa hiyo maji ulichukua, nilienda mbele nikakuta maji hata nilibeba kwenda nyumbani kukunywa. And we told you ukunywe tukiwa pale ukakataa. Who is fooling who? Unatuambia hivyo na tuko na clips zinacheza, and that Njiru, we should do that kind of a presentation. Like now when you are talking about coups, you should pull out some of the activities of 2020 during CORD, when Mutunga said what he said, and when he later came, he confirmed that I could not. Remember, he said, I can't quote him directly, but this is what the context was. Remember, he confirmed that the situation was so tense that he thought about the country. Remember, hear this, that it was true, because what he was confessing is that it was true that the opposition had won. But the tension was so high that he had to circumvent that. Surely, the two wrongs make a right. We need to play such codes, because I know people forget very quickly. Some people, not all. We need to play such clips. That was the Chief Justice then, and I confirm this happened when Mwananchi decided properly. And that's why I come very strongly when people say Kenyans have not, Kenyans have this. I mean, that is tired. Kenyans have not failed to make the decision of what they really want to do. Hiyo tuachage, hiyo ni tired. Because in all elections, hatusemi opposition will win by 190% or 96 kama za Suluhu. But the moment they are the majority, genuine, and then the wheel is overturned. And now you go wholesale saying Kenyans have not done this, Kenyans have not understand this. Why do you want elections to go 98% versus 2%? Sio ni ujinga. Even now, when we are talking about Ruto, don't expect Ruto to get 0%. Remember, our politics is 100% political, tribal. So you expect Kalenjins to not to vote for him, and our Kalenjins 200 people. So let's be a bit objective and look at it openly. Now, that was the 20 during the COD, the COD. When we came to, was it NASA? When we came to NASA, the same thing. Even before NASA, that 2007, IBC saying it, and then the commission that was set came and confirmed. So, gentlemen and ladies who are listening to us, and the Neutral and Njiru, the coups are there. It's not debatable. It is proved 100%. Maraga, now fast forward, yesterday, 2 days ago, they buy elections. Unaonyeshwa mchana watu wakipangwa laini na country director, not country director, county director, the CS, hovering around, threatening people, slapping people. Now people are dwelling on JB Muturi holding that boy who insulted him. I mean, you insult me, my dear brother, whether you are my son or I'll hold you by the neck. Yes, you insult me, I'll grab you if I'm strong. And you can go to hell, you can go wherever you want. I'm a human being. For example, when you insult na mamangu, I'll even hit you in front of cameras. I'll hit you so hard that you'll never insult anybody else. And you can go analyzing, you can spend days saying, oh, for a minister, for a former this and that. Yeah, that is who a human being is. So now people are talking about that incident. They are not talking about somebody who has gone, beat agents, clerks and agents, handcuffed them, put them in the vehicle, burned a polling station, na akawa dump. Nobody is talking about such a thing. Those are the kind of coups we are talking about. So they are alive. How do we sort these coups out? So Njiru, are you looking or asking or looking for an answer or a formula of how to reverse or to salvage the ballot coups that are happening? The mother of all ballot coup is coming in 2027. The journey started 3 years ago. And the coup is so obvious that we can print ballot papers and nobody even raises a finger. Yes. The coup is so open and open kabisa that we can have a vehicle arrested by Mwananchi full of boxes, pre-marked ballots. They deflate the vehicle, but within a few seconds, policemen come so quickly, they chase away people. The vehicle is towed haraka, and you don't know where it has disappeared to. And we still say, unajua watu tu kazi yao they are yapping about defeat. People are, hawakujipanga. Then wasomi wanasema, they did not, opposition did not strategize. So can you talk about strategizing on how to prevent these ballot coups? Wananjiru, let me pause there.
Sawa, Stony PK. So let me ask you a question. Kulingana na vile umeongea. Is it possible to prevent a coup at the ballot as a people? Because saa zingine hao majamaa wanajitokeza, they say that do your civil right, piga kura, enda nyumbani. Or if somebody decides to do a coup at the ballot, is it a done thing? There's nothing you can do?
Can you tell me, like now, I'll give you two examples, and I'm sorry to not to answer direct, but demonstrate. Like now, here you have a CS. That is government. And for those of us who don't know, a CS, CS full name ni chief ni cabinet secretary. Anaingia, remember, anaingia kwa polling station. And let's all picture this. those of you who might not have seen that clip, because by the way, this was supplied by the social media. It cannot, I don't think it can be supplied by the main media, because they are under siege. They have been captured. They can't give you this. Imagine a giant CS walks into a polling station, and then he comes, insults everybody, and beats those who are in charge. Okay, clerks and agents, chases some of those who try to say, no sir, you know, you can't do this. You're given slap mpaka unaona darkness, unapigwa, unapiringita, unaingia, unajikuta chini ya desk. Then those who try to resist, muna handcuffed, and then you are put under in the boots of the vehicles and off, and you are, even motorbikes are banned, and then the ballots are banned. Njiru, how do you stop that as a Mwananchi? Because you asked me, can this be stopped? Can this ballot coups be stopped? That is one. You tell me, or people can tell us here, how do we deal with that? You know, go flashback at the Bombers, when the coup was supported by a candidate storming in, coming in and chasing anything that is on the opponent side. Keep off. And now it's the only candidate who is there calling shots. People running up, picking papers and doing all this kind of a thing. IBC under siege and all that. And now, you know, it's like they were at gunpoint and they are told, announce this, announce this, announce this, announce this. How do you stop that, Jiro? Remember, I told you, I think we will stop narrating and trying to diagnose, trying to analyze things without, you know, being realistic. Realistically, Bomas scenario and this Gitibori scenario. These are only two I'm picking as an example. Ndio watu waniambie aje, Mwananchi, remember ni Mwananchi. Those poor guys who are doing the job, walikuwa na record. Yeah, but because the ballots were staffed with a candidate they did not want, and they needed to create a scene in order to staff the pre-marked, in order to have the pre-marked boxes to surface and become the real ones. That is how you do it. And that was not at the spur of the moment. It was planned. And because it's a government, it has all the machinery to do that. So where is we the people to counter this? I think you have an answer. I don't need to demonstrate further than that. When it reaches that whether you queue in the morning or you even come in big numbers, as we are being told that Sasa 2027, we should come in big numbers. What big numbers than when you have 60% of turnout in a by-election? What other big numbers are we talking about, Wananjiru? Back to you, Njiro.
Okay. Nimekusikia Stone PK. Bwana Neutral, nataka kukuleta on board here. Do you think it is preventable? The same question nimeuliza Stone PK, Bwana Neutral. So can you tie for me that, like, do you think coups at ballot can be prevented by civilians? Because najua most of the coups at the ballot is somebody with the military, somebody with the police, somebody with some goons somewhere. Like, you need to have a system somewhere to enable it. Do you think you can fight that as civilians, or you have to convert it into like a civil rebellion if you have to fight it?
Njiru, there is somebody here called Roberto Ino 4301, anasema we want county seats. Why not use the same model? The problem is people who run IBC. We cannot go military way. Kenya is above that nonsense. That is Roberto saying power belongs to the people and you are advocating for the military coups. Democracy works. Yeah, that's Roberto, somebody telling you that I'm advocating for military coup. I think, Roberto, I spoke very simple English. And Jiro, if you allow me, it's good to explain some of these things. I just analyzed and said, I began by saying why military coups happen. Kenya is not above that. But Roberto, I don't know which country where you are. There is no country that is above military coups. If America has military coups, yeah, and it's a superpower, it's number one. I don't know what you're telling me. Maybe Norway countries are the ones that are above military coups. So you are. I don't think what you're saying is factual. Yeah? In Africa, there is no country that is above military coup. Yeah. What they do, those who are above military coup, is because the military is captured, and it's not a military. Ni watu wa kukula tu vitu za bure, tax free and all that. There's nothing else they are doing. Kufura matumbo tu, wakikula michele na vitu ya bure. So when you say Kenya is above, what makes Kenya above military coup? And you are talking about democracy. What democracy do you have in Kenya? Yes, you have said the county has happened. Which one? You're saying county, we want county, blah, blah, blah. It's not about who wins. This is again, how shallow we lower ourselves. It's not about who won where. It is about how is it? How was the process, bro? Ndugu zangu, this is where we lose it. It is about, you see, I can win. It is not about ati sasa Stone PK because ndio tulikuwa tunataka amewin. Hata akiwin na vita, then it's okay. No, we are talking about the process being so able that anybody who wants to contest knows that I'm entered through a process properly. Back to you, Njiro.
Ellie, do you have a reaction to that? As I shift to I want to tie coups at the ballot and what was spoken today. Maybe Stone PK, I want to ask you. So have you heard the power deal which Gachagua spoke about today with Kalonzo Musyoka? Let me put for you that because there's a reason I want to tie these things up. You tell me like if such agreements can fight such issues. So let me see. I want to see that. I'm just looking for that because that statement is important. I don't know kama hii ndio itatoa hiyo, but let's see kama hii iko na anything, kama haina nitoe speech yote.
Na wacha hii propaganda kusema ati Wiper imeachia DCP vitu vyote Nairobi. You know, they have to try everything wagonganishe Kalonzo na Gachagua. Mbaitu mukwenda tukonganwa. Alama ezekana kebela getu ikioza kwesela Gachagua kuko yo.
Na sisi tumepangana vizuri na kiongozi wa Wiper ambaye ndiye amekuwa akisaidia ODM hapa Nairobi. Tumekubaliana kiti cha gavana kitachukuliwa na DCP. Kiti cha seneta kitachukuliwa na DCP. Kiti cha women rep kitachukuliwa na DCP. Tumekubaliana na Wiper kati ya viti 17 kati ya DCP na Wiper tutachukua viti 16. Na kati ya viti 85 ya ward between DCP and Wiper tutachukua 75.
Sasa hiyo ni that is
na wacha hii propaganda kusema ati Wiper imeachia
I think Nairobi is the first county. Is the most serious county. I think they are plotting to see how they can be able to galvanize people towards their front. Do you think that card can be copy-pasted everywhere, where these political parties are able to agree and they be able to create a more pervious system which cannot be infiltrated by the government? Because now sasa ndio ile card wanajaribu kutuonesha. Can you react to that, Bwana Stone PK? Can such agreements fight ballot manipulation? Stone, sikusikii. Aya, ni kama Stone yuko na mimi. I don't know, sitaki kuweka hiyo maneno ya tiagasi kwa kanisa. I just wanted to wacha tu niweke tu hiyo speech ya Gachagua yenyewe mujisikilia, and then we analyze, although it is somewhere in Kikuyu.
Ngatho ciakwa ndimwire twaiguithania no gakua bendera itu ya gite kia gavana, nyumba itu yothe kanini na kanene itakwenda kumenya etagwo atia, itakwenda kumenya kwao niku. Mundu uria tukahe tigiti wa DCP, andu a nyumba itu yothe makaroka tene mamuhe kura. Tutikwenderio guoya Nairobi ringi. Nairobi ino ni ithua ingi, biashara ciothe ni citu, tutikwenderio guoya ringi. Tutingihota tukucaria ithu turimo ni kurangira ati gutuike nyumba ino itu ni yaga mundu mwongerangira indo cia nyumba itu. Nie ndimwire ndikwenderio guoya na njire Ruto ni atuhure uguo arenda, erwo ni atuhure, ni atumangire maundu maria mothe atubangire. No erwo mukungi akorire u, mukungi akorire u, mukungi akorire u. Andu a nyumba itu mutikamake, no ithuĩ twari kuo, no ithuĩ twĩ kuo, na no ithuĩ tugakorwo ki twahũrirwo nĩ mũthũngũ na gũtirĩ kũndũ atũtwarire, tukĩhũrwo nĩ Moi gũtirĩ kũndũ atũtwarire, ona Ruto gũtirĩ kũndũ agũtũtwara. Nĩguo andũ aitũ, ndĩrenda kũ-introduce mwanake wĩ haha ũrĩa ũrathurirwo Narok nĩ andũ a nyũmba itũ na Maathai, etagwo Douglas Maskonde. Ũyũ mwanake agwĩtwo Douglas Maskonde, nĩ mwana ũguo arũnganĩte ta mũtĩ. Tũraugire nĩgetha tũthondeke ndũgũ njega na ũkabi, ndĩrenda andũ a nyũmba itũ tũthire mũkabi nĩgetha tũthondeke ndũgũ na mũka, na ndũgũ ĩyo nĩranjirie kũruta wĩra, tondũ rĩrĩa Ruto aratumĩte andũ ao mahũre Gĩkũyũ, Maathai nĩo maragitĩire Gĩkũyũ. Koguo ndũgũ ĩno itũ na ũkabi nĩ nje. Nĩguo andũ aitũ, niĩ nĩ njoketie ngatho kũrĩ ũkabi mũno, na nĩ tũkũnyitana tũikare twĩ kĩndũ kĩmwe. Sit down. Ndĩrenda kũmũ-introduce aheshimiwa arĩa me haha, tondũ rĩu nĩ gũcagacire kwahũrwo tear gas. Twĩna mheshimiwa ũgwĩtwo Kamande Mwafrika wa Roysambu, twĩna Wanjikũ wa Mũhĩa kuma Kipipiri, twĩna mheshimiwa Jane Kihara MB Naivasha, twĩna gĩtungati gitũ mwanake wa rũrĩrĩ Seneta wa Nyandarua John Meru, ndĩmwĩre atĩrĩrĩ, nyũmba ĩno itũ rĩ, twĩna thigari ka tũtirĩ, mũtikamake. Bara nĩ tũgũto nĩ mũrathurire Wanyoike na nĩkĩo mena ũru mũingĩ ũguo, nĩkĩo Ruto aratũtũmĩra mĩkore tũhũre. Pia niko na deputy party leader wetu Cleophas Malala, kijana wetu wa nguvu. Nĩguo andũ aitũ, niĩ andũ aitũ o rĩngĩ handũ ha rũrĩrĩ, handũ ha nyũmba itũ harĩa yothe yarũma andũ akarĩithagio. Mũtiũĩ wega ũrĩa mũtuĩkĩte ta nyũmba, mũtiũĩ gĩtĩo kĩrĩa mũtũheithĩtie Kenya, mũtiũĩ riri ũrĩa mwahumbithia Kenya. O rĩngĩ andũ a nyũmba itũ, kuma ngoro yakwa thĩinĩ amũkĩrai ngatho ciakwa. Wacha huyu Kilio Malala kuja useme kitu.
Stone, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, Njiro.
No. Nimecheza hiyo clip ili, is that sustainable? Like, is that steam enough to fuel a rebellion? Yes, I can hear a lot of jubilation, but is that steam enough? Is that the right direction? If you are the one, is that how you would do after the people who come from your backyard were beaten and maimed by the government? Is that what you would do?
No, I think mimi ni mwerevu kuliko, asisemi mtu ni mjinga, lakini my style is different because I can't do the same thing the same way and expect different result. I'll follow that rule. I can't go narrating. I can't go saying, oh, we will win, oh, and Wanyoba Ito, oh, and all this. And even I cannot go and assuming that what was done, I will not do it. In fact, what I would do differently is that I will now come and tell the people exactly what happened and then maybe give a solution. This is how we are going to counter what happened. But now I'm not hearing any way forward in terms of how to tackle what you are talking about. How to tackle a situation whereby you are in charge and then police comes and tear gases you and na kuna watoto serikali inakuja inakupiga matia gas inawasambaratisha na mko kanisani. I've not heard that, but what I'm hearing is lamentation. You know, oh, unajua tumepigwa, oh, unajua hata tukipigwa hivi bado tutamtoa. Sasa aje, mtamtoa aje? Kama inakuwa hata polling station inachomwa, mtapoa aje? Na hiyo ilikuwa tu ni a few constituencies. Je, wakati itafika MCAs 1140 polling station, no, wards 1140, 290 constituencies, 47 counties, all at one go. Mutafanyaje? Oh, Nairobi will put one candidate. How? Njiro, this is a desperate situation. I know it's very hard. It's very bad when, you know, as human beings, we try to ensure that hope is not buried. You know, that's why even in the Bible, we are sold hope. In real life, the key word is, please don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. Yeah. But you are never told at the situation where now you realistically see like there is no hope. What are you supposed to do?
Stony PK.
Yes.
Kidogo, kuna mtu anaitwa Mark Twain. Mark Twain alisema hivi, and that's and I want us to intertwine this statement also in our discussion. Mark Twain alisema no amount of evidence will persuade an idiot. I don't know if you get what I mean there. No amount of evidence will persuade an idiot.
Yeah.
Do you know the path which I'm trying to follow? Nikisema hivyo, no amount of evidence will persuade an idiot.
And in this situation, you can flip it to the other side. Whoever, you know, the situation that is happening, it is a very simple situation. Maybe you know, there is no sophistication here. It is straightforward that you have the government saying mpende msipende, itakuwa hivi. Okay? And facilitating anything, kila kitu inafanyika, inaonekana ni kama elections. Yeah. And you have a battalion sitting and saying, yes, there was election na ilifanywa vizuri, and that's why you have congratulatory messages and all that. So who is the idiot here? We are still saying that tutatoa okay, fine. It's good to go to court because you can't again sit. Go to court hoping that that evidence, whatever you have, will make it. But again, we have history whereby imefika mahali through trivial decisions mnakuwa dismissed, mnaambiwa all what you are doing is hogwash. It's hot air. Summarily dismissed. And because we claim to be constitutional, we just say, you know, I agree, I respect the court, but I disagree with the. So hiyo umesaidia nini? Umesaidia nini? I keep on asking, and thank God my question answers keep coming. What has happened in these by-elections are answers to my questions that I've been asking, and people don't like hearing this. That's why you see like that. I don't know whether there's a lady or a guy who is saying I'm advocating for military coup. Kenyans are quick to jump. Uoga inafanya tunaanza kufikiria Stone anafikiria uoga tu. Hata ijafanyika, you've never experienced it. Maybe some of these people are even so young they didn't see what happened in 1982. Although it was a poorly organized thing, but it was good. It was a test of ilishake kidogo. You know, people realized that yes, you can't just sit pretty. Unfortunately, it strengthened people, and people now even wakajua sasa the number one is make sure that the military is your tribe. Yeah. Wakijaribu kukua dissatisfied, unaongelesha kikwenyu, unawaambia mbona unafanya hivi, na ni your son yako in power. Yeah. While some people are very diplomatic, and they, you know, we had Akina Mulinge being there and they wanted to be seen to be fair. So then they were a bit lenient. For Mulinge to even promote Mkamba, you would be so scared. But when ilichukuliwa na wale wenyewe, walisema tutafanya hivyo mutadu. Kwa ina situation mpaka kwa class ukisomesha senior military unaongea na lugha ya mama. There's nothing wrong with kuongea lugha ya mama, but unaweza imagine saa zile una deliver. Jiro, chukua, take it back. Ask me another question.
Aya, ni sawa Stone PK. So that one I understand. Anyway, unajua lazima tuende tukivaluate hii maneno because based on what is happening, because angekuwa ni mimi I would have started straight because unajua Bwana Stone, I know you umefuata battles like I know you have followed history, World War I and World War II. The guys who won World War II, they won World War II because they evaluated what happened in World War I. So they were saying they were unfinished business. So because ukiangalia the arrangements in World War I, they were not the arrangements in World War II. So that's why you cannot plan future battles and you don't understand how today's battle look like. So sasa ile swali najaribu kukuuliza ni how do you plan for tomorrow and you don't even want to try and understand what happened today? Ni swali tu.
No, Njiru, don't, please. Everyone understands, even a nursery school understands what has happened today. But I hate to tell you this, that the truth and crack of the matter is that what has happened, we have no power to overturn. Why don't we want to take that? What is happening today and happened yesterday and the other day and the other day, and I give you the history of bombers. Mwananchi has no power to do it, because the only way mwananchi can overpower and it's when he is given that platform to express himself and it is taken genuinely. Therefore, mwananchi hapo ata overthrow, atatoa uchafu asubuhi na mapema saa moja. But that, because it's so powerful, is what is suppressed militarily by the government. I'm saying militarily because when you send vifarus in a ward, in a county where there is a by-election, you send presidential squad in civilian uniform to go and run polling stations. That is a military intervention to a civilian process. So it is simple, Njiro, in very simple language, mwananchi is beaten. You cannot counter that with, hakuna, hiyo ndio watu wataki kukubali. And if you want me to give you an answer, I'll give you an answer towards the tail end of this. I just want people to come in and comment. Like I see people commenting quite well. Because once a government, na mjue hivi, once a government decides to shoot and kill, then, and you are shooting and killing an armless guy, an armless person, unakuja na vifaru to people who are only riding motorbikes as they monitor their election. Surely, Njiro, even when we debate here mpaka asubuhi, what are we trying comparing? Tuna compare nini na nini? Innocent mwananchi ameambiwa amke asubuhi aende apige kura. By saa 4 anakuja amepigwa makofi, kura zile amepiga zimechomwa. Surely, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
We still need to speak about that because unajua Stone PK hatuwezi chukua kama normal all the time ati unaenda kupiga kura na unachapwa. Umesikia some of our friends kutoka Nyanza wana argue they have witnessed that entirely, and that is why some of them they are happy for Mount Kenya to witness that, or some of those things to happen in Mount Kenya region, so that now we can be in the same slate of understanding. Sasa hata sisi tuweze kuelewa serikali ni kusema nini.
There you are. Thank you. There you are. Now, can you imagine that kind of reasoning from doctors, philosophers?
Yeah, of course, and some people are happy wanasema sasa. I even saw another comment from somebody at how maandamano shifted from Kondere to Githurai still needs to be studied.
So, and then the latest comment, very, very sad. And when I was listening to that interview live is from this guy, this very senior lawyer who was very close to Baba, is an ODM guy, this black Kikuyu guy, I think he's called Mwangi or somebody, advocating and saying, now, as we've been in the opposition for a long time, we were beaten, and when we were saying things are wrong, people did not listen to us. Now we decided, because when people oppose, they end up going and they enjoy. So as we decided now to change gear and tukapindua mbao, tukasema hata sisi sasa hatutetei mwananchi, tunaenda kujitetea wenyewe kama chama. You know, when people talk about kujitetea wenyewe kama chama ni officials, si mwananchi. Mwananchi, you don't gain anything from these parties. So it is the so-called officials. Wakasema na wakadecide, and they resolved, and it will not change, that it is time for them now to join that government, hata kama ni mbaya, ndio nao angalau waanze kuonja. Maze, hiyo iko live, bro. Ni vile iko in vernacular, ningekwambia ucheze. Yani, nilisikia hiyo nikafreeze, nikasema oh my God, no wonder. Na akasema it was through a consensus, they had a meeting and they resolved that maneno ya kupigania mwananchi potelea mbali. Jiro, you can play that in your own time. It's in mother tongue. A whole
so in other words, hao watu wamechagua impunity, live and direct.
Of course, what you do, yeah, it's impunity so long as you are in it. That's why I'm telling you. I mean, when people say it's not the case, you're extreme, unaambiwa ODM has resolved to dine and join na hawatoki huko, kwa sababu ile walikuwa na advocate kwa miaka mingi, wengine walikuwa wanakataa kujoin, and it is plain. Wengine si wengine, ni Mulima. The guy is blaming Kikuyus that all along when Raila was fighting, Kikuyus have never joined him. Okay, so now that Kikuyus are in the hot air, I mean huko jua kali wanachomeka, wacha wachomeke, wasikie vile tulikuaga tunasikia. Surely can you have a country with that kind of reasoning, Bwana Njiru? Now this is a senior lawyer, bro, anaitwa Mwangi, unamjua Joe Mwangi? Si anaitanga Joe Mwangi? I mean, he's a very trusted guy. He's an ODM guy.
Anaitwa Paul Mwangi.
Yes. I was so shocked. You know, I respected that.
Yeah, of course. Na si yeye peke yake. So yeye ameongea tu. So kwa hivyo ODM imesema wako tayari kusaidia yani kuingiza nyoka kwa nyumba kabisa, wacha hivyo iko kwa mlango.
Kabisa.
Na hii nyoka lazima tuingize kwa nyumba, iwameze sasa.
Na amesema come 2027. Yeye kwanza mazee amekuja akamaliza. Amesema wacha hivi watu wanasema ODM itagawana, itafanya nini? Amesema 2027 it's Ruto. Wanaenda hivyo. Hawatoki. Wacha hii mlikuwa mnabangashwa ati you know by end of 2027 they will decide. It is decided. Now that tells you, and even if you look at how they are talking and all that, they are decided. Wale watataka kurebel, ni mtoke muende, but main ODM iko na Raila. I mean iko na Ruto.
And we are busy with talking them. So
and it is now, this is it. It is what was indicated by Raila when he stopped the 2024, when he said munasema Ruto aende alafu Kachagwa. Remember that statement. Can you play that, please? There's nothing wrong with playing that. Look for it. So
Paul Mwangi,
no, not Paul. Paul Mwangi is in Kikuyu, but there is that time when Raila stopped the Gen Z. Aliuliza mnasema Ruto atoke aende alafu Kachagwa. Unaona? So the thing here, and I want to put it plain here, it's not about Kenya. It's about somebody fearing Mount Kenya, Mulima, Kikuyu. That is why Kenyans are suffering, because Kikuyus have to be punished by some individuals. Take that to any bank, which is wrong. It's a very wrong trajectory. Very, very bad. When we talk of cohesion, how can you talk of cohesion when some people have so much grudge against others? And then we start saying, oh, don't be tribal, don't be this, don't be that. And this nonsense of saying tribal, you cannot cancel from whatever tribe you come from. Why are we condemning? So now you don't want me to come from the tribe I come from. Nikue nini? Well, I mean, surely, why are we dealing with things that are non-consequential? We should deal with where there is serious discrimination. That is what we should be talking about. But don't condemn me because I come from a particular tribe. No. Condemn me if I'm using that tribe as a weapon. I'm weaponizing it. Then that's when you're supposed to tell me, Stone PK, that is wrong. Even with the way people are accusing Gachagua, he was talking of shareholding and all that. Fine. You elected them. You put them there. You put him there with whoever it was. How come when they were being voted in, nobody was accusing them? When they were going for those tribal charters, or they are called charter, whatever charters, those were tribal things. So they were good when they were looking for votes, and when you get the votes, then you turn them to be sour. Amen. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? Now, when now you, of course, sometimes I don't want to say it's wrong, but it's not professional, it's not ethical.
Stone PK, wacha nikuwekee.
Yes.
Yeah, Raila.
Okay.
I don't know if it is the one, but let's see.
Ili
Na msijali.
mimi nimesema wakati tena imewadia Wakenya kuzungumza. Wakenya wazungumuze ili wajue pale ambaye kuna shida ni wapi, hapa na pale na pale. Sio tuko maandamano, Ruto must go. Ruto must go. Hata Ruto akitoka, hiyo si suluhu. Hata ukichukua yule mtu ambaye wanaita sijui wa Munyoro, sijui wa Mchetha, aende pale, hakuna tofauti ataleta. Mimi nimesema wakati tena imewadia Wakenya kuzungumuza. Wakenya wazungumuze.
Yes.
I think that is enough.
That's enough, yes.
Go ahead.
So now you can see, if you read in between the lines, and I mean, Kenyans, we were very ignorant that when Baba spoke, nobody wanted to critique or dig deep. May his soul rest in peace. Here, that kind of talk, you are telling Wakenya wazungumze. Wakenya watazungumza mara ngapi? Wakenya watazungumza mara ngapi? When he was leading maandamano, Wakenya walikuwa hawana tamu ya kuzungumza, ama watu wana chance ya kuzungumza? Yeah. So we have been duped as Kenyans. Mwananchi has been duped na amechezewa. Yani ile tulikuwa tunasema mtaani, mwananchi amechezwa vibaya sana. Na tumechezwa, tukaingizwa box. Wale watu walinatokanga Ushago. When I used to visit my cousins and all that huko Ushago, they were teaching me how to trap is guinea fowls and the quails, those very sweet birds. Okay, so you would take either something called a kerenge or something called kerenge is something you make with those reeds. Yeah, yani wananionyesha kutega, the way you throw my cereal around it, una throw around it, ikienda inaenda mpaka ndani mahali itakanyanga, alafu hiyo kitu yanguke. Okay, so that's how mwananchi has been tunachezewa tu round marking time. There is democracy, we will have NADICO, we will have this, we will zungumza. I mean, 60 years plus, you're still discussing and negotiating. Okay, and we are discussing and negotiating right now as Kenya slides into what we call gangster republic. Yeah, it's a gangster republic because already tumepewa rubber stamp ya kwamba in an election kumeingia sasa provision ingine that when you going for election lazima you budget for logistics, you budget for logistics including PA system, magari and all that, and you must budget for goons. Can you imagine everyone going for electoral position that you must have goons? Can you imagine how many goons we are going to have? That's another industry that has been created by the government. And you are creating that industry when there is no employment. My friend, Jiru, tuko babaya.
Hebu nikuulize, na na Mkenya wa kawaida anaona hii ama tu ni ile tu mizaa yetu?
Mkenya wa kawaida, Njiru, nilikwambia anaona kila kitu but ana power. Wewe Njiru, niambie uko pale kwenye pale village mahali panaitwa Kabungua Kanya. Wewe unaendana kwa shamba asubuhi, unarudi, unaenda unang'ang'ana, uko na mbuzi zako 2 3, that is your life. Alafu unang'ang'ana mtoto asome nini, unaenda unapiga kura, wakati uko kwa line umekuja mmepigwa, wewe umepiga kura vile ulipiga, unajua ulipiga hivi, unakuja unaambiwa hapana, hiyo kura ulipiga ulishindwa, I mati and all that. Okay, so what will you do? Atafanya nini Mkenya wa kawaida? You know, that's why when I hear people taking us, oh, Kenyans should do this, Kenyans should do that. Kenyans have said, which Kenyans have said and have said what? It is these conmen, these gangsters, these leaders, Osoros and the rest who keep on saying Kenyans have said, Kenya, and you have not allowed the voice of Kenyans to be heard. Because the voice of Kenyans can only be heard by truthfully administering the ballot truthfully. Then you know the voice of Kenyans. We've not known. We've circumvented the voice of Kenyans. Mwananchi, oh, Wanjiko. How will Wanjiko be able to demonstrate how she feels if you circumvent her only option umempatia ya ballot? Njiru.
Stone PK. Nataka kukupea coded language hapa to interpret. Ili nataka kuna vitu watu waelewe yangu coded language. Unajua jamaa hizi sema nitawaongoza mpaka nikuwa na miaka 90 kama Paul Mbia, lakini wacha nataka kuwapea code leo.
To move Kenya from a third world country to a first world country before I die. It's possible. In the next, by the time I get to 90, Kenya should be a first world country. Yes. And that's just about 30 years from now.
Ni two term. Ama milele.
Stone PK, najua wewe ni mwalimu wa I don't know kama ulikuanga mwalimu wa literature ama linguistics.
Literature, English and geography, my friend. Guru.
Sasa, I want you to use your literature skills to unpack that.
Alas, it's simple. By the time I'm 90, and 30 years, and I'll be there. I'm the one taking you to first world. It tells you, mutafanya chochote mtakacho. You know, and I'm not going in.
That is what I was trying to play to this guy yesterday. He refused to watch. Because I have the other two. If you play them, you'll see.
Chezeni hizo vitu, karibu.
The mindset of the small thinking. It is the mindset of the average that looks at what I am saying as overly ambitious or unrealistic. What I have said, the plan I have laid out, this 5 trillion shilling plan is a plan that's achievable. And you will see it, you know. My intention is that by next year, we should be able to put together the resources that will raise for us the first 2.5 trillion next year. I'm not talking about 5 years. I'm not talking about 3 years. I'm talking about next year. Because it is possible for us to do it using innovative mechanisms, working on how we can use our resources better, how we can leverage on the assets that we have.
Kiambu hoye! Hii Kenya itabadilika ama itabadilika? Na hiyo kazi yote ya kujenga manyumba, kujenga masoko ni kazi ya miaka miwili. Si ndio? Kazi ya miaka ngapi? Na miaka 10, na miaka 20, Si Kenya itabadilika? Si Kiambu itabadilika? Kiambu itabadilika ama haitabadilika bwana? Sijui kama tunaelewana. Tuko pamoja?
This guy has been throwing hints.
Yeah, unajua, and I don't know why we are
I've been so,
we are
you
not
know,
serious.
you don't
Sorry.
understand why I've been coming to the show for the last 3 days angry. Nikuja hapa so scared, angry, pissed off. Because I don't know what to do. I know this man. I know him. Namjua huyu mtu, namjua vile anakuanga. I can smell that dictatorship. You know when you have that funny feeling, yani, that feeling. Just lala siku tatu because I know that is what is happening to. And Kenyans don't
In other
realize.
words,
Na
Kipril
watu
kidogo,
wana
as you
watu wanapigana
uendelee,
watu
Kipril, ili
wana
uendelee kidogo, ili uendelee.
watu jeru saa zingine bana. Let me finish. The problem with people is instead of fighting over useless things every day nakujanga hapa watu wanapigana, I told you so, I did this, what nini. I'm just like, yo guys, you don't know the problems you're fighting about right now, where you're trying to show off each other's about how intellectual you are or how you knew this thing was coming. Why not even think about solutions, man? What are we going to do? We're in big trouble. We're in big trouble as Kenyans. What are we? This guy wants to stay by force. I don't know what.
Unajua uzuri huyu jamaa afichangi. Unajua, let me tell you, bwana Stone PK, sijui kama mnajua akunanga mtu anakuanga direct kwa hii nchi kama hivi.
Consoling yourself bana. Wewe unajiconsole. Unajua mtu anasema
Pia anajiconsole hivyo, ile kitu anajaribu kusema, Ruto anakuanga direct kwa vitu. Ruto hata ukisikia akisema, see, even he used to tell Raila the same thing. Huyu mzee nitammalizia kitambo. He says direct. Afichangi, like I don't know why, like na ukisikia Ruto akisema hata hao nitawamalizia. So yeye anajua zile vitu yeye mwenyewe anapanga, but I don't know why, like we still play naive and we think that unaweza tumia like conventional orthodox methods and you will fight with a guy who is actually telling you nitakumaliza. Stone PK, can you imagine mtu anakuambia nitakumaliza and you are busy not planning?
And the worst thing is, what are our leaders planning? Let me tell you what they're planning behind the table. Watapigana na Matiang'i juu ya sijui who's going to run running mate. Wengine wanapigania sijui nani atakuwa speaker. We start showing them to ourselves here. Huyu atakuwa sijui attorney general. They are fighting about mundane, stupid things. They're protecting other idiots that have gotten us into these problems already. Sasa mnaanza kupigania members of parliament on the other side instead of sijaisikia tu, yani nimekaa hivi, yani Malala amechapwa kofi mbaya sana. Huyu msee mwingine anaitwa aje, huyu Eugene Wamalwa, naona sasa hata kama alishinda, naona mkia simu ya natembea imeenda chini. What are we going to do? It really concerns me because this man is not joking. Those are just 3 clips within the last 3 days. 3 days ameanza kuhint because he's getting confidence to tell us what he's going to do. It's a very dangerous situation for this country and people don't see it. That is what is so frustrating for me. Niko frustrated sana na shindo sasa. Oh, we're going to go to court. Then what? Court. Don't pick a court. Hey, we're in trouble, but then mtakuwa na mahatbans hapa bana. And I used to say this for a long time. We start praising Wamunyoro, we are like, we think he's like unbreakable, some superhuman who can, what can he do? With the full force of the so-called government of Kenya, where we have stupid policemen. Where yani tunaibiwa tu on a daily basis. Yani hey, this guy has got hii kitu ya mbere na nini Malava, hata mkichukua kotini, he has had the confidence to do what he's doing because it's showing idiots in Kenya that kumbe ako na nguvu hivi. Some other people are even shifting to his side, UDA side, so that they can get seats. It is emboldening more idiots to go on that.
Ujaona nani Kipriro, ujaona Ovulate hata watu wameanzia kujiweka kwa posta za UDA.
Yes.
Watu wanajiweka kwa posta za UDA vibaya sana. Hadi kashiro so and that is the perception you wanted. Yet we cannot be able
and
to
you know
see
that's
that
the thing, yeah. That is the thing. Me, I don't care about perception. Me, I've always wanted to see actual votes on the ballot. The real popularity. But now how can we show when to Monesh's dust banner? Like I still haven't heard the answer I wanted to hear. Or any hope, any glimmer of hope. What are we going to do? Do you know how much the millions that guy has thrown in Bere? Almost more than $500 million. Ilimwagwa tu huko. Oh, we can say to ourselves, oh, you'll not be able to afford to do this country. Are we so sure?
And for you to rule for 20 years, and you need to use 5 billion taxpayers' money, why not use it?
If Museveni is doing it right now, hata mkiongea juu ya ICC, you think ICC is going to do anything about what's her name, Suluhu? Actually, forget about it. The Tanzanians will be watching those things on TV. We get so excited about white people doing things. There's nothing that they're going to do for us. I just brushed it off. The Nikki Skes EU is talking about it. Just brush it off. There's nothing they're going to do. If Sudan is having problems there, which is even a larger issue than even ours, caused by us, by the way, they're doing nothing where the EAU is doing. Nakwambia Kenya tuko na shida bana. We are stuck with this guy. It's time to speak out loud and tell people the reality. Gachagua said nothing. Because they're planning strategy to go to court. What are we talking about here?
Let me tell you, let me say this, Kip and Jiru. I said it earlier that people fear to say I'm hopeless. Keep tuachage hiyo ati oh you can't say that. Maze wakati unaona giza, sema unaona giza. Because giza cannot be brightness.
You see the problem with people that did you malls, did you what this
so politically when we talk of electoral system, electoral justice in Kenya, there is no hope with Ruto as president. There is no hope. When we talk at the ballot, there is no hope. So the opposition and everybody else, what they should do, and I said this yesterday, is they should forget it if they are expecting to win or to change things through the ballot. Somebody here told me, oh, I'm advocating for the military. Okay, I'm not advocating for the military, but I'm advocating for opposition to stop that same story that is not taking us anywhere. They should look for something else. If it's not military, they should come with something totally different other than telling us that to kuja in big numbers,
and something believable, Stony PK, and something believable by people, because we are now receiving apathy from people. And if they continue this way, they will even lose people like us. Because let me tell you, Stony PK, I don't think I feel the magnitude to continue supporting this opposition with the game plan they have. I don't think.
And yeah, and then on top of that, we admit they are as powerless as we are as the people. Tuko pamoja. We are on the same basket. Hakuna mahali watatusaidia. Because sioni any other alternative. Because if in the absence of the voting, and when you vote, it doesn't work. Which is the other alternative watatupatia? Hakuna. So I even don't want to blame them because they don't have an alternative. If they have an alternative, the only alternative is going against the government, whether militarily or whatever it is. That is the only alternative. Force. Okay, let me not use the word military because people here are so scared about it. Let's advocate. They have to go forcibly or forcibly. They can use force. They can go use maandamano. But now kwenda ile maandamano kufinish kumalo. The Nepal way. Nepal was not a military coup. Okay?
It has to be maandamano because hii ujinga ya kusema it's going to take a long time for us to rebuild the country. Take a long time and you're already building a dictator.
Yeah. So, and it's not maandamano ya kwenda tunaenda alafu tunarudi
we don't know who we're going to.
Hebu niwaulize kidogo. Juu mmeleta story ya maandamano na ni vizuri. Hebu niwaulize kidogo like na ni swali tu nataka kuwauliza nyote wawili and you react to it. Why is Gachagua fearing to ask for maandamano and the maandamano build spirit? Why maybe ni swali tu nauliza. Why is he fearing maandamano?
Kikuyu
he was overconfident.
No, Kikuyu, no. Kikuyu don't believe in maandamano. It's only Matiba and Nani and huyu Mwite. Those and Njoya, and they are gone out of state. These others, forget them. Hakuna, Gachagua, nothing. They are telling you protect property and all these kind of a thing. Forget it. Gachagua to conduct a maandamano? Like when? If anything, Gachagua is one of the most coward person. Coward ile number one. And namtajua, munajua watu wanasema
what did they do? What did they do? They usually shout and scream in funerals. What happened in this funeral that happened juzi in Embu?
So what in the street?
Mkia, walikuwa na mkia huko chini.
Let me tell you, let me finish here. Do you know if Ruto wants to lock Gachagua in, atamlock asubuhi?
And there's nothing you're going to do.
And you'll do nothing. But because Ruto is very, very clever, anaacha it's a toy. Because he needs to have somebody anaongea even ndio Naruto naye ana counter. Because it's like soccer. You have to have another team. Una beat hii unaibeat tu. Huyu kuna mahali anaenda akoanda hii umemfungia kanyororo anaenda hivyo unavuruta anarudi hivi.
I wouldn't say we're like Tanzania, it's worse. I would say we're like Uganda. That's what we're building up to. Where we're being lied to. You've got some sort of opposition. Mnadanganya, shika watu kadhaa tu kidogo hivi. Mujidanganya mna debate huko parliament. Mujidanganya mna debate.
Tanzania, why are you saying Tanzania is worse than us?
Tanzania have how many people in? They have only one MP that is opposition. That's what I mean. I'm saying we're like Uganda. We're like Uganda where tunajidanganya tuko na opposition. Tunajidanganya. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tunajidanganya tuko na opposition. Most people don't talk on our behalf. And I'm telling you, we'll slowly shift towards that direction of the one party state.
Hebu niwaambie kidogo because once in the streets na si ati nawekelea maybe you will have to come and it is once in the street. I'm not saying that it is true or false, although Gachagua, we need to see how you will fight your story ya mbele. Once in the street is saying this, that it might be propaganda or not true, but unajua whether it is propaganda or not propaganda, unajua tunekanga vitu zote hapa. Nasikia ati Gachagua amesema hivi story ya mbele. Yeye hakuwa na candidate mbele. Yeye alienda kusaidia
stupid.
No, here I can defend Gachagua. No, hiyo ni ujinga ya hao watu wa nini. I saw people talking in press, sijui nini. Now they are changing the narrative that Gachagua didn't have a candidate. These are kina Sabina Chege and all. That's garbage. Okay? That's garbage. Gachagua had a candidate in the name of the United Opposition. Please. Hata kama tunamdharau aje. Gachagua did what he had to do. Only that now they have no power. United Opposition has no power. And I've told you that. They are like the mwananchi wa kawaida. They can't do nothing to Ruto. Tuache kushift. Gachagua did the job. The opposition did the job. Mwananchi voted out.
It's time to tell us the truth.
Yes.
You're right. It's time to tell us the truth.
Yeah.
We are hopeless. What can we do as a
We are
nation?
hopeless. Simple.
So can he is he going to fight through? Does he want to fight through the legal process, or
He needs to
what
ask us
what is
for
his
help.
fight?
It doesn't
No,
matter
I'm
now
saying-
whether it's illegal
saying,
or what or whatever. It doesn't. It is
I'm saying-
Ruto's game. He can decide. Of course, Kalonzo amesema they will be in court. He said that.
Court is
Leo.
garbage.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the
Of course,
truth.
they can go to in court for record so that the court also nullifies and all that for the sake of posterity. Ndio msiulizwe kama mlienda through due process, of course, but we know what we expect. Okay? But the thing is, they are subdued. Opposition ni mwananchi wa kawaida, just like you and me.
Can I tell
And then
you?
why are they all the time telling us that
only,
tutashinda and they are not handling the real issues?
The-
So hebu nikuulize Stone PK, hii kitu wanasemanga tutashinda,
Nilenga.
what kidogo Stone ni nani Kiprire, this one tutashinda from opposition, what does it mean?
Shinda kitu gani?
They are deluded. They walikuwa wanafikiria si imedemonstratiwa na hizi by election. Imedemonstratiwa mtapiga kura, yes. People will be voted out, yes, but he will overturn it. It is true. Opposition is right. We will vote and vote against Ruto kabisa, na tutamtoa, lakini hatatoka. Take that to any bank. Period.
The
So
other
opposition
thing
is right. Mwananchi will vote, but it will be meaningless.
Can I tell you the strategy? My real strategy ile ya ukweli, ya kusema ukweli. My strategy is they need to ask us for help. They need to ask them, the Kenyan, tuulize tukusaidie. So mmeshindwa, like they've told us watoto wetu, wametuambia sisi sijui nini. It's time to start teaching us to go to the streets. They ask us for help. They need to start calling for demonstration every day. Them, wenyewe waite demonstration. They ask us for help. Do you know what I mean? Not speeches. It's speech time is over.
They cannot.
Is over.
You ask.
That's what I'm saying. That's the only way we can do. Stones, you
Yeah.
asked me what can be done.
That can be done by different people, not them.
The only language that I have for them, because they don't have, none of them have members of parliament. None of them have members of parliament. Hata mmoja wana. Because I have outright thrown ODM out of the window completely. So broad base. Now tell me, of all those opposition people, nani ako na MPs? So we have no representation in parliament. So there's nothing like saying, oh, we're going to do it by law. So now, for them, all I can say is, let's go to the will of the people. Ask us for help. Let us go to the streets and start now before it's too late. I hope I'm making sense, Stone PK.
Yeah, you're making sense, but it's not possible. Ni waoga, unless other people were lead. Not akina Gachagua. You forget it.
Unless kutokezea kitu kama Gen Z tu hivi tu ikuje tu iwasaidie.
You cannot wait for them again. These guys have been shot.
No, si Gen Z kuja iwasaidie, ni Gen Z kuja ifanye hiyo job, not kusaidia. Unasaidia mtu kama akuji kwa maandamano, unamsaidia aje? Wewe unaenda maandamano, mtu wako kwa nyumba, ni Gen Z kuje vile ilikaa na ikuje imeenda ikiendanga.
But niliona Maraka na participating kwa maandamano. By the way, I have seen Maraka in some maandamano. Nile sasa like hata ni kama
but I'm glad for 3 days after all these debates you're beginning to understand. This guy wants to be a dictator for life. Hata watu wanafikiria ni 10 years.
Si amesema akiwa na 90, si amesema atatoka akiwa na 90.
Amesema
before I die.
Listen, amesema until he dies. That goes even beyond the 90 years. Because anaweza kaa 120. Atakuwa tu mnamshikilia na straw. And Kenya can be ruled by somebody na mtu atu ako kwa deathbed na mnasema mtukufu rais.
By then, most of the society will be brainwashed through to poverty. Yeah.
Paul
We're going.
Kisianga anakuambia nobody is ready to die in demonstration. Some people they go to demonstrate here on mtandao.
Yeah, there you go. So I think even now, like honestly, we should slowly start accepting.
People are ready to demonstrate. Huyu Paul sijui anasema watu gani. Today ukiita maandamano utaona wale watu watajaa kule. People are ready to go bro. Watu si waoga, ni vile hakuna leader, hakuna mtu anaita mkutano, anaita maandamano. Of course right now Ruto akisikia maandamano anaua kuua. Yeah, that one I agree with you Paul. Yes, but people will come out. Because he has gotten emboldened as we go by, including even importing people to come and kill blindly. I mean, shoot without feeling even anything. So
Stone PK, wacha nikuuliza. So like kulingana na vile situation iko sasa, solution ni nini? Wewe mwenyewe like ukiangalia like
maandamano,
ukiangalia hiyo situation yetu tunaweza saidika aje, even as we ignore the weakness ya hawa viongozi, can somebody, mtu anaweza jitoa kwa hii shida na hizi vitu? Huyu ngoja kidogo Kipril, as unacheka na hizi vitu huyu Musalia anatuambia, are they preventable? In a way, are they preventable? Remember even Uhuru alikuja hapa, nani Atwoli alikuja akaanzia kutuambia Uhuru ni mdogo sana na akagongwa. Mnakumbuka there was that story ya Uhuru, ilikuwa inasemekana Uhuru ni mdogo sana. I don't know what he was trying to recreate even him as well, na hiyo kitu yake ikakuja ikagongwa. I don't know, because maybe he was not strategic as well. He wanted to embed himself. Sijui kama
can I set some gloom to you, some gloom.
Go ahead.
Look at Venezuela. Wananchi wamejaribu kutoa mtu,
usiona hata Marekani wanalemewa na yeye.
They've tried, and that is the kind of leader Ruto is, by the way. Putin is another one. Kuna watu ni ngumu kutoa bana bro. There are people just difficult.
Na wanaingiaka kimchezo. Na wanaingiaka kimchezo. Sema hivyo. Na kwa nini sijui usemi wanaingiaka kimchezo?
When I was watching 2022 election, I saw this one and I knew it. I saw it. Mbere was actually, I was looking forward to seeing some kind of fairness. I'll not lie to you. I believed that these guys had the strength to protect the vote. How did
you keep uli expect to protect Mbere vote?
Stone PK, you also had hope. You are watching. It was
listen.
It was hope. No, let's be frank here, Stone. There was something called hope, and it's okay. There was something in the back of my head knowing something was going to happen. But we had hope, Stone. Usisema uko na hope.
Sikuwa na hope mimi. Because I knew the week before when I saw the deployment. Unajua tulikuwa tunaongea vitu hapa na watu wasikizi. When tulikuja tukaambiwa kumedeployiwa polisi wa State House. We said it here. You can replay that. People brushed it off. So when you have policemen being deployed in every polling station, 300 policemen from the State House to replace the policemen wale walikuwa wa kawaida, kawaida walikuwa mpande ya mwananchi hao wa huko, the policemen in Embu County. By the way, that is one good thing about nini. And if you look at modulars operandi, any operation wanaleta, kuna squad inaletwa ya kusubdue the regular police in that particular area, not only in Mbere. That's what has happened in Malaba. Yani tukubaliane hivi, this guy is out to do anything. He can't lose even hizo seats za MCA ajali, because to him those are not consequential. Okay, za MP ndio alikuwa ni za kuweza, atazunguka hii mwezi yote atakuwa akisema vile amenyorosha watu, because that's what he enjoys narrating. Okay, you know, ana enjoy hiyo kunarrate while opposition wanaongea juu ya 2027. Look at that that difference. Yani unanyoroshwa unaongea juu ya 2027. Yeah? In short, keep truly speaking, even this opposition, they are hopeless. Take that. You read their faces, they are hopeless. Kabisa, look at Gachagua talking today kwa church. He is hopeless. Look at Kalonzo kwa church. He is hopeless. I know it sounds very bad.
No, it's the truth.
Yes, they are hopeless. You look at their faces, hakuna. Unajua uko hopeless kwa nini? Umetandikwa Sunday kwa kanisa, unaambiwa shut up, idiot. Unaenda kusema Ruto is going to do this. Unaendelea tu kunarrate. We imagine, unapigwa kwa church Sunday out of nowhere. What does that tell you? Alikuwa anaonyeshwa you are useless, you are nothing. Mbele yao watu unaongelesha lugha yako ya Kikuyu. Wewe basi mnacheza na Githinji bwana. Aya. Oh, guy more than.
Watu wali hata kwanza sasa like
ile night tulikuwa tunapigana sana pale Bomas. Wewe na mimi tulisema we are done.
Yes.
Ile alafu tukakuwa na kahope kidogo tukidhani Uhuru atakataa kupeana sword. Akaenda Kasarani akapeana, we sealed our fate.
That was it.
Yes. Kwisha. Alipoipeana tulisema Luere. Kiluya si wanasemanga Luere. Kwisha. That's why we are where we are. And even worse. The only savior.
You can't even protect a MP seat, man.
Yes. The only savior was to hold, lakini naye angeweza, angepigwa makofi zingine za ajabu. Angebondo hapo vibaya sana na Ruto. Ruto was ready for anything. Uliona siku ile Moi wakitaka kupigana na Saitoti kwa stadium.
Then what happened to Saitoti?
Unajua ilikuwa wapigane hapo haraka sana. Yaani ilikuwa mbablozi ingeexchangewa historically. Hiyo ndio mngeona Kasarani.
Mjamali ni aibisha. You can't embarrass me like that. Off.
Ungeona vituko Kasarani. Angesema there is no way. Angechukua hiyo mic na nguvu.
You play with my people, bana. My people are hot-headed, bana.
Ndio watu hawajui. Huyo chali angechukua mic na nguvu na achukue hiyo Bible na nguvu na ajiapisha hapo mkiangalia. Ukikuja karibu na yeye anakutandika hedi.
So I'll tell you, Jerry, just watch the Gen Zs, watch the general population, because these guys have been defeated. Let me tell you. Because you are relying, we've been relying on months. You know, sometimes when I say, why aren't these guys coming to the show? Because for months you are narrating the speeches these people are giving. Sijui Ruto alitandikwa na mdomo, bro. Let me tell you, what you're watching was a TV series. That is what is heartbreaking. Eh? You're just watching drama on TV right now. There's nothing they're going to say. What does that mean? Are they going to complain to us, the public? Oh, Ruto did this. Oh, Ruto stole this. Or it does not translate. Utadu. That's Stones, Utadu.
Yeah, Utadu. Douglas Kipogong anasema aliona youth huko nani, youth and Mikunchi sijui ni nini, youth and Mukunji walitokelezea huko Siakao ku demonstrate. Youth are willing, they want someone to set the tempo. It is true, youth are willing to, but now the question is, if you are willing to demonstrate, are you willing to demonstrate until you achieve the desired result?
Mta demonstrate, kuna demonstration ya walimu, kuna demonstration ya nurses, kuna demonstration of doctors, few days hivi mpaka hata you don't even get what you want and you still go back to demonstrations mean nothing to that man unless it's all of you and you stay consistent.
Well, keep,
That is the unfortunate thing.
keep. Imagine natembea wameshikwa wameabductiwa, if it's true. Unatoka kutoka abduction, you are cowed, uko nikaa chicken imenyeshewa hata uongee chochote.
We saw it. Yeah, I saw the video.
Which means maze hakuna mtu atadidi atawezana na gava.
He came out because all Natembea came out to say, I was expecting some fire. All he said was he was with the bullfighter. He was with the bullfighter.
Yeah, but how come ukirudi ulikuwa umepelekwa?
No, walisema, and this is going to disgust you. Walisema, lakini 2027, there you go. You've already lost me. 2027, utajua Luya wako United. I'm like, yo.
Walisema walikuwa wamepelekwa wapi?
Walikuwa cell.
Cell ya wapi huko?
Huko, which is the closest cell to Malava. Just there, hapo tu.
Imagine unashikwa na unarudi unaachiliwa saa zile election zimeisha.
They are not even harmed. It was almost like house arrested.
Na ni nani anawa arrest? Faruk ndiye ana call the shots hapa. Under the three mnasema.
We have an emperor bana. We have dictators. Hata njonaona Bobby Wine nashindwa anafanya ni. What are you Bobby Wine going to do?
Bobby Wine entertainment. Bobby Wine pia ni entertainment too.
If you don't demonstrate, munavalisha watu kala, ni kama Ruto atavalisha watu kala. Yeah. Tulikuwa na watu wengi sana mbere bana. Let me tell you. And this is what I was trying to tell people. That Charis is a popular candidate. Very popular candidate in Bere. But even if your people are still counting votes.
Sikiza hii keep. You know, unaona ward ya Karis. Kwa ward ya Karis, ujue Kachongo ni noma. Ward ya Karis ile imemchagua mara 3 na wanangetaka kumchagua hata mara ya 4. Alikuwa polling station zote hakuna ile alilid. Ward ya Mominji.
And then you're counting the numbers. Oh, tuko na 200 hapa.
Na watu walitandikwa in all polling station. Walitandikwa makofi, ni kama kuulizwa mnakuja kupiga kura, makofi. People are scattered. then they did what they did with the votes. Wanazipinduanisha. Za Karisi ndio zinakuwa za huyu sasa. So it is Wamudhende who led. In Karisi ward, which has elected him 3 times overwhelmingly.
And then, okay, this is just besides the point. And then there's a stupid, let me tell you, a walking zombie. Because that's what I can say. A walking zombie is coming to decide your fate as a people, knowing that he's got at most 5 more years to live. If because of the stress he's going to put himself, deciding for you as well, and your position is not guaranteed. Your ODM itakuja kuswallowiwa after 2027. Mustuke mseme, oh, what happened? What happened? We had an agreement. What happened?
Alafu imagine gava ya 2027 already imedesigniwa.
Ishadesigniwa. And I'm telling you, the other thing is it's going to leave some Mulima, a high percentage of the Mulima people. Luo Nyanza will obviously going to be given a short end of the stick. Like right now, there's only one Luo person that is in the super government, the super cabinet. Only one, Opio and I. But if you talk about generally that area, there is Mbadi, of course. But the Luo people have been given, ukiona people from Central imejazwa your cabinet, second to Kalenjins. That's why I like the way that bishop said. So if indeed it's the positions you're so hungry for people from ODM, Muskie Jasa and Mutaka is in position, but now your party is going to be swallowed in 2027. And then you see the problem is even looking at it from a revenge point of view, it's just stone. So unaiona. So you're seeing it happening. I'm amazing my own things. That party is dead after 2027. And it's not about membership. It's about what Ruto is going to do with it. Look at Musalia's party, gone. There are so many parties that were in Central, swallowed up. Jubilee, gone. So what are we talking about here? Jubilee was a gigantic party. TNA, let's not even call it Jubilee. TNA was a enormous party, man. Completely destroyed. Who the hell do you think? Oh, pana. Oh. Njero najua umenyamaza, but it's time to hear the truth. We're in big trouble. That is why ukiona mimi na Stone PK tuko hapa tukipiga kelele, we are seeing it. We are seeing it. It's about 3 o'clock down here. I'm just coming to terms to that calculation, because I'll not lie to you, Stone PK. I know you saw it before. I had hope. I had 50% hope that something. I refused to watch it. I refused to watch it because I was just waiting for the results, because I was just like, shit, I cannot watch this thing. I was just waiting to see the newspaper. I just thought there was going to be bad news. Nikaweka kwa internet nikiwa kwa ofisi. Naona bado zijakauntiwa. Yani imechukua 24 hours counting kitu. Then I knew something was cooking. Then I just and I'll tell you, yeah, even if Karis had won, and I was seeing that close margin, nikajua hata hapo tu nikuonesha tu, I can do it here. Ameuza kila kitu, this guy bana. Kenyans, this is Putin. Njeru ametoroka tena. Stone PK, are you still there? Stone.
Yes, sema.
Yeah, me. No, demoralized Njeru, but we have to tell him the truth.
No, Njeru unajua sijui anakuanga anaenda wapi. Siendi anauliza maswali.
Yeah.
Unajua truth is hard. I mean, although it's relative, but
then I'll try and do that talk. But ile talk yetu tuongea, I'll call you up when I go to Kenya. We do a call. That call we wanted to do the leader. Tuulize hizi maswali bana. It's important. We know what are we going to do.
Yeah, you know, today your secretary was she your youth league alikuwa kwa radio jana, that beautiful girl, and
Secretary General.
No, the youth league leader.
Yeah.
I've forgotten her name. She was on radio, inaitwa radio nini hiyo? Radio Generation. And she had a very good interview, and she was calling it as it is, you know, Mother Karwa style. And she admitted that that given given what it is now, people have to really go back and going back to the drawing board. But then that board, what they will be drawing, they should not draw the obvious things. They should now throw away the box and think outside the box. Think without a box. Anyway, hata isiwe karibu na mahali mna think. Yeah, if they think maandamano, wajue wana think maandamano kumalo. Otherwise, hakuna haja. We have done all the maandamanos that we could. Na tulimaliza maandamano na youth on the 24th. Nafikiria that was the king, the mother of all. And that was the zenith, the peak, the pinnacle of it. Okay? Then ikakuwa deflated. So now people have to, again.
Hata sijui sasa. I'm hearing Gentis, but let me tell you, they've been deflated.
That was our last arrow, our last bullet.
They've been deflated.
Gentis ilikuwa ni hiyo ya kuenda kufinish kumalo.
Nimeongea now, they are completely deflated. How do you expect them to rise again? No, that is why we have to say the truth even about Raila Amolo Odinga. He destroyed the act, man.
Ungeona vile walitandikwa pale Siakago Tallying Center. Unajua nilikuwa nimeambia wewe jamaa nitumie clips. Sijui naye kama alitandikwa akanini, I don't know, maybe hakuwa ameipost. Yani they were descended on a men. Unakumbuka wale watu walikuwa Eldoret na Marungu zile za
hiyo kitu ya majembe ilianza na sisi watu wa Eldoret, hiyo kitu.
Yes, walidropiwa na gari 3 za polisi, walitoka kama makomando. Wanakupata unaekelewa hiyo rungu hapo kwa nini, hapo kwa Tallying Center, alafu tear gas ikapigwa, auoni kule unaenda, ni rungu. Watu wamevunjwa miguu, mifupa, wamepigwa jameni. They were beaten thoroughly. There is one clip I want.
Can I ask you a sensitive question?
Yes.
Are you running?
Am I what?
Are you still running?
Yes, I'll run. If there will be, but I'm doubting whether there will be elections in 2027. But if there will be, I'll run, because I'm running for. I'll do. I'll tell you officially. But yes, yes, I am.
Okay, so mimi sija give up sana, hata kama ni kumwaga we still try. We still try, you know what I mean? We have to try. We have to try.
But it's tough. It's tough because one, I'm seeing like there might be no elections in 2027. Yeah. Ask me why, I'll tell you why. Because
why?
This guy, there is a motion that is coming here to extend the term, and that will say like, yeah, it's a sale viable. Itaenda haraka haraka, yeah, na itapita. He has justified the reason wameelezea, and then he doesn't need votes. He doesn't need that he
already has 2/3. He
Sorry?
already has 2/3. He already has 2/3.
Yeah, and then he doesn't need to have it in the nini at watu wana debate. He will just sign those other bills. Mliona zikidebatiwa, the 8 bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they can debate it. Now he has the confidence. It can be debated.
But those bills, did you hear them being debated?
No.
No. Yeah.
But then even the debate can happen, and there's nothing Sifuna can do.
No, it doesn't have time. Now amepata balls, hata hiyo haitafanywa, itafanywa tu hapo huko kwa chamber sijui nini. There is a way they do shortcuts huko. Kuna debate moja ilipitishwa hapo na watu walikuwa less than 15 kwa nini? Less than 10 kwa parliament. Million.
And the way he bribes them, he says what is good for me is good for you.
And remember, this deal is so sweet for all of them because it extends from MC all the way to the president.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who doesn't want to have 2 extra years? Hata mimi ningekuwa niko MCA ama MP saa hiyo ningeisupport. Why not? Yeah. Because whether you support or you don't support, itapita. So what do you do? Huh? So the guy will add 2 more years. So 2027 is precarious. I'm not.
And then that one would be his first term.
That will be his first time, yes. Kwani umenyamaza?
Nani huo?
Umenyamaza, si ni first time hiyo.
Sinajua itakuwa first term.
Alafu arudi aende second term. Inakuwa
Second
14
term,
years.
yo, sasa ashakula, yo. By then you are so used to it. What are you? Unakaa tu hivi. And then to reverse something serious like that ni ngumu sana bana. Bro, sasa tukuzoea tu.
Yeah, itakuanza ni kuzoea hiyo sauti akina nani watakuwa ndio magurus akina
At that point in time, you just throw your hat in politics and say, it's off.
Yeah, so na atakuwa niliwaambia niko na plan. Niliwaambia
We'll even have to do those speeches. It's just going to be like Museveni. Kunyamaza tu, you keep quiet, watu wafinywe, then we just leave it for the guys below us to.
Angalia impunity ya Museveni. Una appoint your daughter to Central Bank. Your daughter, Central Bank. Your wife, one of the strongest ministry. Your son, Chief of General Staff. Ama inaitangwa aje? Alafu unasema nini? Alafu Museveni anasema Uganda is so nice, even a fool can survive in Uganda without any problem. At Uganda is so nice, even a fool can survive in Uganda without any problem. Wewe mzee unifurahisha. Alafu anasema you try those things, you will see fire. Try anything. Rally Madawa aliambiwa, Rally Madawa, wewe jaribu kuja Uganda, you will see fire. Rally Madawa ameogopa hawezi kanyanga Uganda, na hiyo si eneo yake.
Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds.
Wewe Njiru wapi?
He's a coward.
Amesikia vitu analala aki-moderate ama ni nini? What happens? Unaweza cheza clip nikikutumia nani? Oh my God, what is that now? Stop.
Yeah, so Stone, tumalize conversation. We finish this conversation here. Dictator. Where? Nimeona vituko this weekend, I'm telling you, my brother. Stone. Are you still there, Stone?
Yes, I'm there. I'm there. Keep.
Santa, subiri before I go sleep. It's a bit late.
Sorry Keep, nilikuwa nimepata simu nyingine. Unasemaje Keep?
We have to prepare mentally as Kenyans. Surely have to. Going to have
What do we do? What do we do, Keep? But we have
streets.
the answer.
Streets. Me, my answer is the streets, I'll tell you.
Mm?
But also, we have to do that thing. We have to radically tell our people to
Ngoja
protect their
nichukue hii
votes.
simu kidogo, 1 minute ni postpone. Sorry Keep. So Keep, what are we saying?
Streets.
Hmm?
Streets. And we have to radicalize our people to protect their votes. It's up to us.
Nyamu moja, kuna mtu anaitwa Nyamu moja hapa anasema Suluhu has appointed 6 relatives to cabinet. Sasa mnaniambia mtu sasa mtu kama huyu hata mfanye nini? The thing is mtadu ndio sasa next time Keep, ukija karibu instruments of power, you should never behave like Uhuru Kenyatta. Okay? Or Raila Amolo Odinga. Okay? You should not, yani si bila kutumia lugha mbaya, ni kama vile ulikuwa unasikia mtu anaulizwa una behave ni kama unaingia kwa nyumba ya mama yako. Unajua your mother's house you can enter hata na ujinga tu juu ni kwenyu ama ya baba yako. So yes,
and they show so much privilege.
Yes,
like they deserve it. Like it's important, you know.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, this is kuna kitabu tulisoma ilikuwa inaitwa kastori ka jamaa alikuwa anaitwa Simon Makonde. Okay, So this is the story of Kenya, that wasichekelea watu kama Cameroon. Let us not laugh at countries like Cameroon, because
90 years old.
we are not different.
90 years old. Na sisi yetu tunangojea another 30. Yeah, at least tutakuwa shamalizana na huyo.
Yeah, so tusichekelee. In fact, we should praise countries like zile countries zimesema no to nonsense. Na tuache hii narrative tunasema ati Kenya is above sijui what, sijui Kenya is above. Those ati Kenya is above, Kenya is better. In fact, we are better in being naive and foolish. Yes. Naive and foolish, that you can be trampled on by an individual. So yeah, yes, Kenya, we are number one in ati Kenyans are resilient. Nasikianga hizo vocabulary. Kenyans you resilient. Unatawaliwa na manguvu. Unatandikwa. Watoto wetu wanauliwa, inakuwa ni business as usual. Ati saa hii watu wako busy wanapeleka mang'ombe kwa grave ya Raila. Look at all these kind of things. When we have other bigger issues, people are still paying homage to a long gone person. Mambo ilikwisha Luwere, you are still wasting your time going to pay homage sijui nini. Look at those kind of things. When we have serious issues at hand, very serious issues, unaenda kupay homage. Hata Babu Owino alienda kupay homage. So I don't know. Maybe sooner or later I'll even stop appearing in this. Maybe nitarudi kuapia kwa ile yangu ya localized, niongee na wambere wangu huko kwa ward. Wambere wangu kwa ward huko tukiamini kuchukua mishale, we have control huko.
Now you are talking my language.
Yeah.
We have to radicalize our people to protect themselves from this.
Chukua unakuja, ule mtu atakuja kwa hiyo ward kujaribu kuleta shida, tunakutairisha huko, unaona? Na tunakwambia upeleke ufala kule unapeleka. As simple as that. Otherwise, iko ngori.
But I'll give you a call when I'm close to something to tell you.
Sawa, when do you want to call me?
Takwambia, siwezi sema hapo kwa mtandao.
Okay. Si ucheze nini? Wewe unaweza cheza clip.
Kama gani?
Nilikuwa nataka yaka kadem ka PLP bana. Kaliongea vizuri.
Are we talking about OSG or youth leader?
Si KSG, ni ka youth leader.
I don't know, I've not seen it yet.
Ati?
Hiyo ndangoja by the msimamo is traveling there kesho.
Travel. Anaenda wapi?
See, I guess working bana.
I just asked anaenda wapi. I know he's working.
No. I was going to add on top of what I mean. And he's working. He's going to take some people from Taita to kwenda huko na delegates bana.
But sasa nyinyi watu PLP nalipisha watu kuwa members bwana. You guys are losing it.
What do you mean?
Why are you asking people to pay for membership? Although it's cheap, yes, but why would you do what other people don't do?
We're not asking for a lot of money. 20 bob bana, bro.
No. Unajua, it's not the money, it is that nini. Kenya maneno ya watu kulipa parties iliisha ndugu yangu, because it was very bad. Ilikuwa watu walichukulia vibaya sana. That's why parties changed to free registration, because you need them in your meetings more than actually you need the masses to come than you'd want to control it. Sasa uko na paid up members who might not meet the numbers you want.
See, again we're also looking for funding.
Yeah, chani hiyo. Recruit massively, then you appeal to them. Now you appeal to an already basket that you have full of people. You are open the doors, waingie, then wakiwa ndani they feel belonging to that party.
We're
By-
doing both.
Yeah.
We're doing both. We're gonna register kwa karatasi because that's where the offices are being opened there.
Mi
Also.
ningefanya hivyo. Mi ningefanya mass recruitment and then wakiwa ndani kwa branch huko ndio naambia sasa aka ka ofisi tunahitaji kufanya hivyo. I would have done it that way. Because when you have people and they're juicy now, they are happy, they are feeling they are in the party, they are excited. Alafu naambia mazee aka ka ofisi kanahitaji this viti za plastic 2 na kanini na ni 3,000. Can we raise that? Hiyo mna raise hapo tap tap tap, you know. Lakini waenda ati ni kulipa register, utasikia kunungunika tu. Wengine wananungunika bila kusema. Unaona?
But let us see what happens this week, because we have to talk about what happens this week, because I'm yet to hear something of reason. Kitu ya maana lazima itokeleze this week.
Kitu ya maana itokeleze.
Yeah, tusikie tu what their plans are.
Na tena ujue kwanza we would have, unajua strategically tungetafuta candidates before people even know. Unakuta muna popular candidates, because like me, I know how to scout the popular candidates.
You must start that road in Bere now. You must start that journey. You as Stone PK.
Niko na strategy yangu na mpaka mkisikiza, mkikataa kusikiza kama ODM uko mbele mwezi toboa. ODM failed when they had the biggest chance. You see, the strategy of a party doing well is not to follow the usual routes. Ati unaenda unaambua huyu ndiye alikuanga KANU na alikuwa mobilizer wa KANU, then huyo ndio unakimbilia kuchukua. Go to uncharted waters.
Tunaenda ushago kabisa sisi.
Hata si ati ni kwenda ushago and then you get new people. Like now hii strategy ya kuchukua msimamo. Do you know the impact you have with msimamo is better than if those old guards who have been there, who have been in parties from this party to this party, this party to this party. I'm telling you, because that's new energy. Somebody maybe ametoka from a different line, watu walimuona akifanya kama hizo vitu walikuwa anafanya sales, so he has that kind of network. They know him from that point of view. They don't know him from the point of view of wakora wa siasa wa kawaida. That is a big plus, you know. True. And you have such people all over the country. You have, but you have to take time to look for them, you know.
Yeah. Too late.
Unaweza imagine ODM nilianza kuwapatia strategy 2010. Actually 2008 when I launched my cultural community thing, which is so big and powerful in Embu County. Yeah, I approached it from a cultural point of view, which holds cultural festival twice, 2 times. I mean, every other year. You know, you skip 1 year and we hold big cultural whatever, which people attend from all over the country to go and see a culture that has not been exposed. Okay, rich people, those people who love original or cultural song, cultural food. You are seeing something different because people have been knowing of only things like Maasais, of course, some Kalenjin cultures, they do it, lakini sana sana ni wa Maasai na wa Giriama. Okay. Yeah. Now there is something called Mbere. You go to YouTube, you see their kind of dances, what they do. All right. I did a movie, a documentary on them, and I was telling ODM, kuna this thing. Too many watu wawili tu wakuje during the launch, at least you know people get to see you. People in a cultural center, I mean a cultural function, and then unakuja hapo, umetoka Nairobi, una represent ODM, umewasalimia. If for example unawadonetia kitu kidogo, something worth 1,000 or 2, you know, and wanashindwa, you know, and the more you participate, sorry,
and they feel okay, they feel good. But then
you see, when you participate in social activities, that is when unanini, unakuja hapo after hiyo, during that social, tunafanyanga siku mbili hiyo festival. A part of that tunaweka activity, ka ofisi kanafunguliwa hapo, kamepaintiwa orange ama purple, na kanawacha kamebandikwa bendera. I don't know why people don't click what that is. People, watu hawashiki, unaambia watu, people are thinking of different things. Oh, sijui, yani simple thing kama hiyo, unaambia mtu ameanza ma theory za kitabu, desk theory. Unaambia mtu, like now, do you know in Kenya most idiots think that the seat of an MC is nothing, is rubbish. Do you know that?
It's a big seat. It's a big seat.
It's bigger than an MP in terms of
very
what?
Important.
Political and developmental aspect. It was only belittled by the MPs because they didn't want competition. Yeah, remember, an MP has to bow to an MCA for him to garner vote for in that particular ward. I'm telling you this out of experience. An MP lazima akuja anapigia MCA magoti. An MP needs the MCA. The MCA doesn't need an MP. Do you know that? Yes. Yeah. So if I don't need you, but you need me, who is the boss?
Ndio najulikana na watu hapo chini.
Yes, even for programs and projects to succeed, it is through the MCA. If an MP wants to succeed, succeed akishirikiana na MCA kwa hizo community program ama project. Na wengi wakiingia uani vita, MCA wanapigana na MP. Hawasikizani. No. Juu MP anajidai yako na hiyo NG inaitwaje? Hiyo fund, Constituency Development Fund. Okay? Sasa anaringa nayo. Ndiye atapenda kama Carol. Okay? Sasa ile constitution inakuja, if at all that we will hold elections and if opposition was to win, the proposal is that MCA's Ward Development Fund will be big because itatolewa kwa MP ipelekwe kwa county. Kupelekwa kwa county ni kumaanisha inapelekwa kwa ward. MP waachiwe tu legislation na hiyo nini oversight.
Ndio kazi yake.
Na hiyo ndio kazi yake. So implementation and oversight na hizi zingine za ward level itakuwa ni MCA. That's why you hear mother saying that communities must identify managers amongst themselves for the seat of MCA, proper leader, accountable, transparent, and of integrity, high integrity, because in order to manage the funds. And the person you go to every morning unakimbilia haraka as mwananchi, ule ako karibu na wewe ni MCA.
True. Yeah. Bro, imefika 4 acha nilale sasa.
Ala, uko ni 4?
Yeah, ni 4 acha nilale. Yeah.
Okay. Pole bana. I didn't know. Mimi nilikuwa nafikiria uko kama lala vizuri. Thank you. I will be waiting for your call, man.
All right.
Wacha tutangu wale wote akina Douglas, Paul Kisianga na akina Nyamoja na nani mwingine na Kenyan Democracy ni sisi. So thank you so much for all those who are working. Thank you, Kip, and may you have a very, very good night. We catch up later.
Let's catch up tomorrow and then tell Njeru asishika heartbreak bana.
No, hii Njeru hii inaonekana ni script yake hii disappearing act. Sijuagi huwa anafanyaje.
Nenda kufanya massage. Alright.
Maybe kesho nitafungua through Stone PK ndio niweze hata kumoderate na kunini na kucheza clips. Nilikuwa na clips nyingi sana.
You know,
za
sometimes you
kucheza.
can play when you're walking around, unaacha clip ikicheza na unarudi. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. See you later,
Sasa,
bro.
thanks so much. Bye bye.
Okay, I'm back. Kama kuna mtu anataka join the discussion, you can join the discussion before I close it off. So mumesikia huyu jamaa vile anasema nikikuwa na miaka sijui ati 90 years. Let me look for that. Some of the kuna clip nilikuwa nawachezea. Wacha niweke huyu.
Cannot be to tell me one term or two term. Who are you speaking to? But your response cannot be to tell me one term or two term. Who are you speaking to? That is partly why you are seeing this low voter turnout. So when you look at the candidates, what do they represent? One term or two term? Where is the solution to my economic problem? What am I going to vote for in this election? What am I going to pick? What's my take home at the end of this election?
The two main players in this by-election was one term versus two term. For us who still are figuring out, we are thinking about what is the need for the people as we engage in this whole political discourse. What are we aiming to solve? What are the problems that we have identified that are bedeviling our country? And as we campaign, how do we intend to solve them? So our participation in the last by-elections, to us, we got what we wanted.
Okay, is it for you as a party or for you as a united opposition?
We were in this by-election as a party.
Okay.
Individually as a party, just as Safina. And what we wanted from the by-elections, we got it. Yes.
Well, when you talk of, as a party, I know Safina is also part of I don't know whether you are part of the broader united opposition.
No, we are not.
Or you are not, you are standing by yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I also tend to feel like it was the same perspective that the united opposition also had in their minds, like we are getting there to see what we can be able to do.
When you look at our approach to all these things, you realize that Safina Party has a very different approach. You've not seen us out there being confrontational with other people. We are just talking about what is our problem? How can we solve it? We are interrogating both sides. The opposition where we are, not the united opposition. But by the mere fact that we are putting the government in check, that makes us opposition. But the questions we ask is that what will happen after the voting day with whatever outcome that will come out of the ballot? If it happens that two-term has become a reality after the election day, then what next? How do the people of Kenya live through the two-term? If it happens that one term becomes a reality, then what next? How do we now live with the issue of in the government that will come next time? What are we, as the people who are yearning to come into leadership of the country, what are we offering? It cannot be, when you see, the one similar thing between one term and two term is that we are not coming out clearly to say, to make it about the people. When we talk about one term, you see people are saying that we are discussing among ourselves, who takes what, who takes which position. But that should not be the focus. Before we even start discussing on who takes what, it should be then after what you take, what are you going to do about it? What are the problems that the Kenyan people are raising? And what's your formula to solve those problems? That's the biggest question. Yes.
I had a recording here about the president. I don't know imeenda wapi, about the president calling out on the united opposition.
Yes.
On the issue of okay, it's not even only that clip. He has been telling them that they are agendaless. They don't know what they really want. And I had that clip was talking about when the president was saying that the opposition, they are discussing leaders, while they are thinking about the people.
First of all, the president must stop thinking that he's the prefect for the opposition. He's not our prefect. He cannot come and prefect what our agenda should be. And he cannot even tell us what should be the agenda, because the person with the mandate given to him by the people to state what the agenda is and actually actualize that agenda is him in the office. He should stop being preoccupied by thinking about what is the agenda for the opposition. That is our bitter pill to swallow, not his. His biggest job is to implement what he told the people that he's coming to do, not to stand on top of his SUV and talk about how the opposition is agendaless. What is his agenda? Because if at all there is anyone who has taken the trophy for proving that he's agendaless, it's the president.
Why? And I'm seeing the president all over, and him launching a lot of projects. Like right now, as we are speaking right now, he has pledged major investments to unlock the northern Kenya's potential. As we speak right now,
he has been launching projects ever since he came into power. He has not commissioned. We have not seen anything that started from the scratch to completion. All he has been doing is launching. And yesterday he was in Kiambu to talk about purposely to launch a road. Is it Maori Roni? Then the question should be, do we have a budget for it? Who is going to finance it? What are the contract signings? Who is the contractor? Is it really going to happen? Where are we going to raise the money to build that road? Those are the questions people should be asking. Once we know how are we going to finance that project, then we can be sure it is going to happen. You see, when you look at that whole exercise with a political eye, you realize that it was a well-planned event. The day after the by-elections. And when you look at the majority of the speeches in that event, it was to hurl insults at the opposition. It was not really an event to launch a project. I am sure if the outcome of the Mbeere by-election was different from what happened, I doubt if he would be in Kiambu trying to say that he's launching a road. It is to take political credit that you see, even as they make noise, I have still defeated them. You see, when we talk about government projects, and you see what happened is that immediately he launched that road, there is a petition in court. Do you want to tell me that the petition in court waited for the by-election? It waited for the launching. Then it happened after the president had launched. In my own thinking, it's all the same people doing it to stall that thing because there is no finances for it. And you can't tell people that there is no money for it because you already told them that there is a way we are going to finance it. But how do you make sure that it stalls? You send someone to court to petition. And so through the court process, it takes time and we are nearing the election. Then come during the election and say, I had the intention of building this road, but these people ran to court. Now they have costed you a road.
Wait a minute. So every other person who is going to court, when the president starts doing something, starts to maybe he has a project that he's pushing. So we have seen people going to court. Yeah. So do you mean that some of these people are it's just a project by the same government?
Yes. Some of these people are just being sent by the same government. You use one hand to support the project, then you use the other one to stall it. Because as we speak, the issue of resources to fund these projects is a nightmare.
I have seen, there's also another clip the president was saying where this 5 trillion that he talked about, because a majority of these projects that he's launching, he said that it will cost around Kenyans around 5 trillion, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And there was something that he was saying today that he knows very well that we are able, the country is capable of raising that amount that will be able to ensure that those projects have been done.
So, according to the president, how are we going to raise the 5 trillion? Is it by introduction of another levy or tax?
Actually, that is what I don't know what is happening to my phone, because I heard that story about him, what he had indicated. But all in all, him saying that we are able as a country to raise that amount, whether through taxes, whether through loans, because I know, of course, if the taxes fail, the loans now come in.
Ati black chocolate ni fine melanin bana kutoka nikapate kanapenda kenye mi wanapenda so kanapenda toto chupa na hali ya nono.
Sijui kama umesikia Simio hapo vile amesema ati una launch project alafu na unatuma watu kwa koti wafunge hiyo project, sababu unajua hiyo project uko unafanya tactic noma sana. Mimi nimeelewa hiyo science hapo. Unaweza kusema hapa tutajenga barabara, hapa tutajenga nyumba, alafu unaambia jamaa wewe hebu kimbia kwa koti uchallenge hiyo project, alafu hiyo project ina store, alafu sasa unakuja ku blame the court action. Yeah, that was a brilliant sight. Anyway, thank you. Tupatane kesho. Oh, I can't be able to stop it from the... Thank you for all those people who have participated tonight. Tutapatana kesho. Yeah, I have to stop the feed. Yeah, because I can't go on any longer. I feel some headache. Yeah, so let me check. So kuna mtu anasema okay, coups. So we were discussing about coups at the ballot. So Suluhu has appointed 6 relatives to the cabinet. So hizo ni vitu. Nobody is ready to die in demonstration. Kuna vitu zingine tu, you just relax. Yeah, thank you Nyamu moja. So tupatane kesho. Nikipata mtu wa kukuja mapema, we can open the show mapema. Yeah, there was somebody who told us that we can collaborate with Akina Mukua. I will try to look for them. Maybe first of all niingie kwa show yao. I feel their discussion as well. Yeah. For people in America wale ambao walikuwa na Thanksgiving, yeah, have a good start week. Wiki imeanza sasa. There's nothing else we can do. Kesho. So it is 1st January. Not 1st December. So December imefika. Msimu wa Christmas. So as we push more. Na tunaomba pia kina Gachagua wa style up. We need a more strategic plan. So hii plan watatuonesha. Till we meet again tomorrow. Bye bye. Bye.